Welcome, everybody. It is the 20th of December. We are just marching on in over here to the holy days, and the skies are blue, although I did see like five or six jets out there. I can't wait for us to activate our military so they can just knock them out of the sky because we rebuke evil and we have commanded evil to leave our galaxy now. And so, first, I was so excited about this meeting because everybody who comes right now during the holy days, it's always going to be really uh, powerful conversations as we walk towards releasing everyone and moving towards the paths of least resistance. And so I love it. Let me start with the Bivens decision. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or an agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? We're only asking this question to be sure, to operate in honor. We're not asking the question because you're not allowed to be here. This meeting, it's open for you to come and learn, and we invite you. We want all living men to join us. So, is there a response to the Bivens decision for the first time? You can just respond by putting your hand up or opening your mic and verbalizing. I really would appreciate if you just put your hand up, honestly. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. So, to eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? I guess I should say if you're working for any of the corporations. Just let us know if you are. And also know that we operate under the law of one, so that is to do no harm. Everyone is to arrive and exercise their free will choice. And with that, we don't, uh, bear false witness. And so you should operate in honor. And I'd like to know if there's a response to the Bivens decision for the second time. This meeting is private. That means I don't have to publish any of the meetings or share any information if I don't want to. It's a private meeting. It's public, but it's private. It's public, but I mean, it's open to anyone who wants to come participate, but it's my private meeting. So, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, or posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden, and it shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? If you work for any of the corporations, that's you. Just let us know. Is there a response to the Bivens decision for the third time? Anyone who is here under false pretenses. Anyone who is here working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States or any of the incorporated entities, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the conference call. If you subsequently show up as a federal witness, you are discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now or have you ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community. Upon no response to this notice of the Bivens decision, this meeting shall now proceed. I'm just checking the chat, make sure I didn't miss anybody who was letting us know. Welcome. We got people from all over the earth. I love it. Welcome, everybody. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. All right. So I just want to speak a little bit about rights. There is no such thing as a right. All people are inherently free. There's no rights. All people are inherently free. You should probably know if you're free or not. That's a different problem for a lot of people. But there's no such thing as a right. When everybody keeps saying we got to stand up for the rights and defend the rights and the rights and the rights, this is corporate nonsense. Okay? All people are inherently free. The idea of right was created by men who sought to free people from some of the burdens of government, but who still believed that governments were supreme over men. Let me read that again. The idea of right or rights. It was created by men who sought to be free, who sought to free people from some of the burdens of government, but who still believed that governments were supreme over men. So when you hear people talking about the rights and protecting the rights and the rights and the rights, and we have to honor their rights, and we got to do the rights and do the right thing and the right and the rights. This is all some man-made construct. It is not what is God's law. It isn't the hermetically sealed universal law. This is a distraction to create compartmentalized bedrooms, in the house. Remember, we're supposed to be owed a family style government. So if this is your home and we're all sitting in the living room, the family room, the kitchen, that area, the entertainment public spaces, right? The shared spaces. That's fine. Everybody can be at a different table, working on their different committees. You start putting people in bedrooms, and you know what? Big Mama has to go up there and start kicking the boys out or the girls or whatever. We don't do that. Somebody's got to go up there and police them and whatever. And we're not doing that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Isn't that what Grandma says when you go up to your room and everybody's at the house and you're entertaining? Nobody's supposed to be upstairs. Okay? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, we're protecting the rights. No, we're not. We're not making space for that crap. That was created by men who sought to free people from some, not all, but some, not all, but some of the burdens of government, who still believed that governments were supreme over man. No, thank you. The problem with rights is that they offer certain delineated permissions granted to men by government. So, if we're sovereign, if we want to claim sovereignty, I'm sorry, I don't need your permission. Is that true or false? People should start paying attention to these things. I don't need your permission, and I don't need it to be granted to me by a government. So what they want is, the problem with rights is that they offer certain delineated permissions granted to men by government. After these, government can still dispose of you as it pleases. Isn't that funny? They could do whatever they want to you, but you can only do what they allow you to do. So no, that's a big hard stop, okay? Even in measures of restriction, this still teaches people that they have less value than the law. Okay? So it is wrong, and we're going to call it out for what it is because it's lies. It is a lie. It is false, and we don't operate in false lies and evil because we rebuke evil. So we don't care about people's rights because that's a limited thing, permissible by the law. Well, guess what? We're the living law. You're the living law. I'm the living law. We're writing the law every minute. The truth is that you are free and there is no authority that has any claim upon you ever. I'm going to say it one more time, y'all. The truth is that you are free and there is no authority, none, that has any claim upon you ever. They want you to say, oh, you think you're above the law? Nah, I am the law, brother. I'm the law. Okay? I'm not above the law. I am the law. You are by nature already free. This is the value of a living man. This is your intrinsic value. Your intrinsic value is that you are already free. I'm going to say all this part again. The truth is that you are free and there is no authority that has any claim upon you ever. You are by nature already free. This is the value of living men. Hey, Zoom user, can you please give us your name? Zoom,
My name is Lenny. I got booted and I'm trying to come back in.
sure. Welcome, Lenny. I'm going to just put your name in, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Great. All right. So that's it for my little pre-speech. I always like to start, for anybody who's new here, I just like to start with a little excerpt from The End of All Evil. This isn't my opinion. I don't operate on opinions. I'm done with all evil. Okay, I'm done with it. I only operate in knowing. If I don't know something, I shut up. I don't say anything if I don't know what I'm talking about. The End of All Evil. This is a book, one of the books, one of the many books that Anna said everyone should read. And there's some errors in here. They still think that, we're human beings. We're not. We're people. So when you get this book and it says human being in it, they mean people. They just don't know any better. It's okay. We still love them. And so with that, Thomas, I see that your hand's up and I want everyone here to feel very comfortable. Everyone has a voice here. We will be here for a while because I don't normally do all these really long meetings, but I have a feeling this one's going to run long. And it's okay because you know what? We're here for the holidays to be peaceful. We're here, to make sure to ensure peace on earth. And the only way to do that is for everybody to speak and know the truth. And we don't walk in the opinions of ourselves. We don't walk in, our chaos and confusion of not knowing what the truth is because most people don't know because we were never taught the truth, okay? It was occulted by a few evil men and it went over so many generations that it's a problem for anyone anymore to know that the sky is blue and the grass is green. So if you're here, probably you kind of know that already. And so with that, I will yield to you, Thomas, on California. Welcome.
Hello, good morning. And everything that you're reading there, and from a sovereign's perspective, I just wanted to point out a good, in my opinion, foundational truth for America. We have people all over the world on this call. However, on America, what we have been able to do as a foundational truth that gives sovereign standing is we've been able to point out the law that we're under. It's Roman civil law. And if you don't mind, I like to just read some notes I wrote here. Once Roman civil law is pointed out as present and in fraud, those in that jurisdiction realm are called, requested, demanded, ordered to course correct. we're familiar with this assembly known as the 1849 realm, especially if you're in California. There's like nine other states that were doing it, or eight other states. But as I comprehend it from my jurisdiction, which is general jurisdiction as sovereign, the 1849 realm assembly should integrate their American ideals to assist with the incorporated realm in unincorporating the states of and the union states. And it's basically, if Niti resonates and y'all resonate with me, it would be a demand of the people. I'm all for cleaning it up, and that's what Niti's here for. So with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Sounds like you're putting a notice out there. That's what that sounds like to me. And that's fine. This is a public forum for that. We will publish. And so it becomes a notice for those who need to hear it, you know. We're alive, and so when we open our mouth and we speak, then our words are permanently embedded in time, space, reality. So that word has been spoken, and so be it. Yes, Marie. Welcome. Marie France.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Marie-France from Montreal, Quebec. And I have a question because right now I have the wonderful duty to work on a document which is called the motion for dismissing the Canadian Bar Association. So I have a question for you, Niti. I would like to know your answer about that because I just started to work on it and I was asking myself this question, um, to whom do we think about serving this document? And I say document, even though it's a legalist name, I don't mind. Many sovereign are using it, the mentors, so I'm using it. Anna is using it a lot. So, to whom do you think after I completed this wonderful work, strong motion for dismissing the Canadian Bar Associations, and of course it goes along with what Anna is suggesting or has been suggesting lately in some of her articles. Um, do you think this motion is going to be first made by we the people, of course, of the what we call the Canadian State National Assembly, or or we are going to put it on and sign it all together? Are we going to have to serve this, as you think, to serve this motion to people from the colonial courts, people from the Bar Association, like Le Barreau du Québec, for instance, the CEOs of those corporations, and or should we be serving this document to other coordinators from the countrywide in United States, national states, Anna von Reitz, and to whom do you think we should serve with this document, or to whom should we be thinking of serving when we create and produce this important document? I yield.
Thank you. So I will say this. I'm not qualified to answer this question for you. And Anna has said that we are not allowed to give any legal advice on an international level. She's even not allowed to do that, and she does not. It's one of the reasons why she is very um, limited. She limits her um, coordinator calls and most of her open calls like that here on the States. The international calls that she is invited to speak with, you know, those folks, she's she doesn't give legal advice like that because it would require her to research all of their law, and she is qualified to do that. She's been trained to do that. And she doesn't have the interest or energy or effort to be able to do that as a fiduciary here on America. So she has to do her job here for the people. And for that reason, she does what she can do in order to provide relief for all living men on earth, which is the reason why she started with the bank, which would fund all the living men on earth because it is the only gift she could offer everyone. And so I'm not going to answer that question for you at all, but I will just say you might want to look and see who you're addressing because as far as we know, there isn't a Canadian Bar Association. It's all the British bar. So there's that,
Oh,
but I don't know. I mean, you can look into it a little bit more. And why are you doing that? I don't know. And a lot of things that Anna does, we're not supposed to do um, because she is operating in all the realms with special training and a special position or a role as a fiduciary. And most of us are, let's be honest, incompetent, haven't known about this for more than 7 years, maybe 10, but none of us are competent in this. And she's probably one of the very few. There's so many people who can stand up as and have provenance as, daughters of the revolution or what have you, but she was selected out of a group of 900. She was selected. It's not like she just, decided. She was selected. It was something that was imposed upon her, asked of her, and we are so fortunate that she accepted the mission. So, um, there's
well,
there's a lot going on as far as that goes, and so I won't touch that one at all because it's not my place to do that, and I'm not sure it's yours either, really. Like honestly, I'm not sure, and so I'm not going to say very much about it because, A, on one hand, I hear Anna saying that Canada is joining America. And if you are, then you have to yield to the Federation and follow what she's saying. And a lot of this stuff she's already claimed. So you're just, I don't know what you're doing. And then secondly, if you aren't joining the states, which is 100% the choice of the people there, because Anna's not going to presume upon anyone. So that's a fact. She's not presuming upon anyone. You have to request it. You have to ask. And then in which case, then why aren't you listening to her? Because there's so many people who follow Anna and don't do one thing that she says. I don't even get it. And or they actively work against her. So either you're paid opposition or deranged, and I'm not saying you are. I'm saying people, generally speaking, right, are doing these things. So this is a lot to think about, right? And I'm not addressing you specifically in this because you could have a reason for doing this. I don't know what your position is, but again, you're outside of my jurisdiction, right? So none of my business. I can't really speak on it. And so I'm just sharing with you the purview of some things to consider so that you can make those decisions for yourself because you have your free will choice and you have to go with what you are led to do, right? Joanne was asking what is the Daughters of the Revolution? So anyone who is can trace their ancestry back to the Revolutionary War, men who fought in that war. Those women are the daughters of the revolution, Joanne, just so you know.
May
And I
I?
know that there could be a lot of them on Canada as well. So,
May I?
yes.
I'm just curious, Niti, what is the significance of that? What does that mean? So if someone is able to kind of indicate that lineage, what does that mean? I
it's
yield.
a very powerful provenance because your provenance is directly tied to all of the men who fought in the revolution were granted their sovereignty in their own right with land rights in the original 13 colonies by William Belcher at that time. And so if you're a daughter of the revolution, then you may have land that has been granted to your family that you're owed because none of these corporations can ever own that. They can't own that land. And so you could reclaim your land. That's one of the big deals. And so yeah, if I'm sure there were people that migrated back and forth between here and Canada. And so it is quite possible that anyone on earth anywhere is a daughter or a son of the revolution. And so that is something that is really nice for you to trace back and have that as your provenance. So, you know, there's that. So with that, I'm going to yield now to Thomas and then back to Maria. Marie France. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. I yield.
N- Thank you for this time to just share what I wrote down here real quick. I would say regarding all the other countries with a sovereign perspective outside this monopoly system, which has duped 17 other countries, by the way. So, America, we're not the only one. But what we've seen here in America is okay, know who you are addressing. That was perfect what Niti said. Well, who are you addressing? What's the conflict? What's the problem here? So know who they are. Who are the players? We found out here on America, it's the Roman civil law realm, incorporated realm. We put a ball on it a little bit. But in your country, who's addressing you? Know who they are, and then can you prove you're being misaddressed? Are they misaddressing you? Can you prove it? Do you have a foundation to stand on? We do have a foundation to stand on because once you point out Roman civil law is being perpetrated on people, it's lawfare, and you point out the fraud. Fraud vitiates everything. You go back to root origins of the error, which is in our realm, the Constitution of 1787. So we have the documents and the foundation to stand on. So what Anna has done is she's reverse engineered it back to that. So I would think you would have to reverse engineer it back to that. But meanwhile, the Americans are here. We're witnesses. If you have like lawful documents, what you have to show intention, I would put it on bucolic living law because in my perspective, everything that goes on to bucolic living law, when the sovereigns do have their purchase power and credits, it'll just go through like an AI, and whoever's doing what's best for land, people leading with love, peace, and truth, not bending their will against others, and it's a free will zone, they will be the ones that get, the energy. And with that, I yield.
It's very true. And it's a good place. I mean, it's the reason we built it for the Federation. It was at Anna's request for it to have hold the space of evidence of showing a timeline, a date of when it was noticed publicly. And so there was no way otherwise in the past for them to actually have the evidence of the time and the date of when it was evidenced. And so now we have that. So I yield.
I'm not sure if you're yielding to me, Niti, but I was yielded too. I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I was yielding to Marie. I'm sorry.
Okay. I just want to answer a little bit, Niti, what you just said. Um, First of all, I'm working within the working committee to create and produce those important documents, which Anna herself said that Canadians should do. Like one, the Declaration of Nationalization of Canada. What is Canada? The borders for we, the people, in our mind and soul, because apparently the people never put it on paper. So this is one. And the second document is the motion for dismissing the Canadian Bar Association. And of course, we know that all bar associations are British accreditation registries. The same thing goes along in all of Canada, and in Quebec, le Barreau du Québec, the same thing. We know about that. I do also want to address that I feel competent to do that. First of all, I worked many, many years in lawyers' offices. I know about that. I'm a graduated law commissaire à la sermentation pour les districts judiciaires de Montréal et Joliette. Et ensuite une secrétaire juridique. J'ai travaillé plusieurs. So I feel I wrote myself many hundreds of documents in my life, legal in the legal system, but also in the last 4 or 5 years for using common law to help the people in the courts, in the colonial courts, to serve their notices for whatever the reason. I just saw in the chat about the police being, overpowering people, things like that. So I feel I have the competency. Also, I want to say on both sides of my family, I have the roots. Thanks to my grandmother on the maternal side, she was going to marry a Jesuit priest, but she didn't. But he was still studying as being a Jesuit, and she had all our lineage on paper. So I have a native.
May,
I'm
may I? May I, Maria? May I?
Yes, well, I just want to say that I have lineage back to 1644 with the Sauvagine and Sauvages and 1672 in my ancestors. And on the other side of the family, I have two patriots that were hanged in 1827 in direct line with my genealogy. I am on this land for more than 6 generations. I know who I am. My mother knew who she was, my great mother also, and my great grandmother. So this is not a question about that. It's a question of moving forward the good way. I was just going to ask here my American fellow brothers and sisters what they think about that, and if we have to do it only within common law people or to serve it in the colonial system of law enforcement and so on and so forth. I yield.
So, number one, nobody's questioning your ability. I'm definitely not. We don't have to explain and defend ourselves, our qualifications here, okay? Because you were born worthy beyond belief. Without all of that, you still have a voice that is worthy beyond belief, okay? So we're not interested in all of that. I mean, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. I just mean it like you don't need to qualify yourself to speak here, okay? That's number one. Number two, um, I'm still standing on my point. We don't give legal advice here outside of this nation, period. Period. Because the things that we can do on America, I have no idea what you do on Canada, and I will not pretend to know or speak on when most people on Canada haven't even figured out what to call the land yet. Okay? So let me just leave that right there. And if you don't know what to call it, I definitely don't know what to call it. And guess what? I was born on Niagara Falls, practically in Canada, because I was right there on the falls. My mom and dad had a brownstone where Niagara Falls National Park is right now. And I was literally all the first year of my life in a brownstone right beside the river. So the water is very soothing to me because my mother, when she was pregnant, walked back and forth on that bridge. She knew everyone there, so she didn't need her passport. She used to walk back and forth while she was pregnant, and she used to have picnics right there by the water. And that was before it was all commercialized. And then now, where the brownstone was, it's the parking lot for the church that's in the park there. And so that was where I spent my first year. And then after that, we moved to North Carolina. So I've been a Carolina girl since I was a year. But I say all that just to let you know that no one, I don't know who's trying to take control of this, but we're stopping that right now. I'm sorry. Who is Zoom user? Who is this? I'm asking you to unmute and tell me who you are. I just need to know your name. I just need to actually know that you're a living man or a woman. I don't actually need to know your name. Going once. Okay,
Yes,
there you go.
hi, my name is Carol LaChapelle.
Great. How do I spell that? Can I see your face, please?
Carole, LaChappelle.
P-E-double-L-E?
Right,
Thank you.
like a church.
That's great. Perfect. If you can open your camera and then close it back again, that would be awesome.
Niti, may I?
Hold
I
on.
I just wanted to indicate the screen share that came up on screen. I do recognize the name of the individual that came from. I believe it's a little bit of a technology glitch. those from Quebec who are French speaking are used to navigating the toolbar to access the closed captioning in order to be able to see the transcript to help them better with the language understanding. And it can be tricky clicking the wrong buttons down there. I yield.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, um, do they just want uh to show the captions? There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Is that good?
they can choose that themselves, but sometimes it's just a little bit tricky to get in the right one and click. You know what I'm saying? Thanks.
Of course. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I don't know who's taking over the screen. That's fine. Thank you. I didn't even know this did that. That's pretty cool. Oh, we're just learning so many things here today. Let me, I want to turn it off on my screen. How do I even turn it off now? Mm, 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 mm. Well, I don't know how to make it stop, but let's see here.
What is it doing?
It's literally taking over half of my screen, showing me every word everybody speaks.
Yeah, because we
So,
don't see that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
May I? Needy,
Yes,
if you have the
yes.
transcript on, you can exit out just like you can X out the chat. There's an X in the top right if it's the transcript.
Oh, okay.
I yield.
Thanks. I don't see that up there. Oh, yeah, like it's in the middle of my screen. Oh my goodness. Hmm. Oh, no, that didn't take care. Well, whatever. I'll just tolerate it, whatever. I'll just be uncomfortable. I don't know why it's doing. Oh, wait, I have another button here. Maybe. No, it just literally will not allow me to exit out. Okay. Anyway, and I don't know if it'll be on the recording now as a side effect. Maybe that's helpful for people. I don't know. All right, I can't spend any more time worrying about that. I have another Zoom user here. Can you tell me who you are, please? Zoom user, I'm asking you to unmute and
It
tell
was
me.
someone from Canada.
This one, this new one?
Yeah, it came up. It did show the name. I didn't memorize it, but it said from Canada.
Hey, Niti, it's Gwen on Canada. I'm having troubles with my phone, so I had to re-sign in, and I'm wondering if it's not showing my name.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Um,
try and get the glitches working out. It won't let me raise my hand or anything, so
oh,
I'm just fudging with it. So my apologies, sorry.
oh, it's okay. Um, I just put Gwen in there. Is that you? I wrote the name Gwen on it. Is that you?
Okay, I dropped off on the other phone, so I should just be me right
All
now,
right.
and I
I'm
have my
just gonna
camera on,
remove them because I don't know. I can't figure all
so
this
maybe
out.
it's not me. Sorry.
It's okay.
I
No, no problem. I mean, whoever it was wasn't answering me, so I just threw them out because I can't even do that right now. Kathleen Davis, you're up.
Hi, Niti. How are you today?
I am great. I hope you are.
I am doing well. It is a beautiful sunny day here in West Central Florida on Hernando County. So it was cold last night, but it's a beautiful day today. So God is good, and I am very blessed. And as always, thank you for your beautiful smile and your personality. You are
Oh,
amazing. First of all, I'd just like to wish everybody on the call internationally a very Merry Christmas, a Joyeux Noël, and a Feliz Navidad. For those,
oh,
sorry, I don't know any other languages other than English, French, and Spanish.
wonderful.
But I would like to make a comment about what Marie from Montreal was saying. Marie, comment ça va? Ça va bien, I hope.
Oui, ça va bien,
Joyeux
merci.
Noël. Ah, but I'm from Canada as well. Originally, I was born there in Toronto, way back when. But I know that, and I do live in Florida now, and I do know that the history of Canada, for all of those on the call that are Canadian, is very diverse, especially in the province of Quebec, because they had so many different civil wars, not just between the British and the United States, but also between Britain and France as well. As you know, the history of Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia has all of that, as well as some from Vermont and Maine as well. So, looking back into the Canadian history to move forward with your documentation, and especially when you guys, I would believe, start to look at land patents, that's going to be a very, very tricky thing as it is here in the United States. And I can only say from doing my research here in America that even within on different states, doing things are a little different state to state. But we do have the Union State, our federation as a whole, that we can go back to for everything. But that diversity in Canada is so different because Quebec does have a lot of different rights. I shouldn't say rights, but de facto rights that I believe not a lot of the other provinces have. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and especially for people, our wonderful fiduciary Anna and others that aren't familiar with not just Canada but other countries within our globe, to really and truly help guide. Because of that, everything is so different country to country. So just all I want to say, Marie and Gwen and the others that are from Canada on the call and worldwide, just I hope that you all do your own due diligence as a country and try to do your look into your heritage and how your country, or like on Africa, everybody is joined now. It's an African nation state, which is wonderful. And hopefully we'll all be able to get that. But I know it's difficult because we don't have all the answers here in America. Anna doesn't, Niti. It's just so complex. Just hang in there, everybody, and it'll all work out. And God bless you all.
Thank you, Kathleen. That was wonderful. I mean, it's really true. The laws on all the various lands on Earth are so diverse, and everybody really needs to do the research. Like Terra Australis, for example, I use them as an example all the time. They researched for 12 years, and they worked with Anna for the last 12 years, just literally only doing the research. They've only begun to form their assembly now, but that was after they had done extensive research, and they did that also. They also made lots of tours. They also grew, a group of people. Um, I guess you could call them like an assembly, like a general style or something, but it wasn't really calling it the assembly. It was just generally the people, just educating the people and working on the education and making sure that they had, a house of bricks and not this house of sand, where they just had a group of folks that were able to see the truth and agree and also have interest in pushing it forward. And so now you have leadership that was born out of that, right? So and then they continue to grow and get more people to volunteer as a side effect because it's a pretty vast piece of land. So e- everyone else needs to kind of, I think, follow suit like Africa and Canada. Yes, Glenn, go ahead. I yield.
Thanks, Niti. Going on, Terra Canada. So one of the unique things we may have in our advantage is originally I was last man standing for Canada. And so we can use that playing card, so to speak, as part of our claiming of the geography. Part of our problem with the diversity is that these Brits have decided that the ice is an inland waterway. And so they're taking advantage of us, of course, in any way they can. And that's one of the ones that they considered. And so it's kind of like the last man standing principle, erases that hold because I say Canada is not a territory, that's water, not land, and last man standing is here. So la di da. And anyhow, I just thought I would add that. I yield.
Cool. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to bring forward? The floor is open. Yes, Gwen, go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more thing that I came with today, Gwen on Terra Canada. So I have a group of farmers that have reached out, and I know you love the farmers. So these individuals have gathered on our province, which we don't use anymore, but they have a barter system that they have already put together. Now we're working with them to do the paperwork, but it was my understanding that you may already have some kind of farmer barter system going on. They're interested. No? Okay, so we didn't know if we should grassroots this or there's something existing. One of the things they were bringing up is that literally our clothes are making us fat. That these DuPont chemical companies are making poisons. And we used to kid that we would get fat in wintertime. So this is taking us down a different road. And I used to say, well, my sweatpants are making me fat. And little did I know, there's truth in that, right? So they're trying to get into reestablishing like linen is linen, wool is wool. We know linen does your brain, like helps you think, gives you clarity, wakes you up. And then we know that wool addresses your heart chakra so you feel all cuddly and you want to sleep. And therefore, if we're blending those, it literally knocks our electricity off. So we're looking for starting things like healthy clothes, packaging and labeling. Like, what exactly is regenerative farming when you see it on a package? Is that another one of those lies, like all caps
Yes.
organic that's not on the page? Okay, thank you.
No,
I
it,
wondered if
it,
you
it
knew
is,
more
it
about
is.
that.
First of all, you can't be a regenerative farmer if you don't have livestock. So what I'm doing
Oh,
is working with regenerative farmers for the last 20 plus years, and it's all livestock based. It's not plant based at all. In fact, we don't care about the plants. You cannot have plants without animals.
okay, so like when they're
So
telling you regenerative farming and it's a rice cake, that would be sort of a
that's a
lie.
lie. It's not
Okay.
sort of, it is 100% of a lie because you can't regenerate the soil without the magnetism of the hooves of the living beasts massaging the earth. So if you're not managing livestock, which brings us back to a land situation, which is how I found Anna, is because what I was trying to do is protect the land and soil for all of my regenerative farmers because farmers are not the same thing as big ag. So
Yes.
big ag is corporate lies and bullshit, and farming is only a family that is honoring the land and soil, period.
Hmm.
And if they don't have
Hmm.
livestock, they're homesteading or they're doing, there's more homesteaders actually. And we actually want to get it back to everyone homesteading, but you have to pare it back. When you have Doritos and, Lucky Charms on the table, then you have to really encourage people how to get back to that. And so it would go from monoculture and big ag back to farmers, which are people. The only way, there's not very many farmers. This is
Yeah.
what nobody really comprehends is you have to own a whole lot of land and you have to risk everything on it. And most of these people are enslaved just like we are, but they're enslaved more powerfully. I'm talking millions and millions and millions of dollars in debt with continuous debt being put on them because they're locked in a situation where the bankers keep putting more debt on them and they have literally no way to possibly ever get out of it, which is the reason why you see so many of them have to abandon their land, which is a shame. It's a disgrace. It is criminal on multiple levels and it is inexcusable. And so when I tell people that, if you're not raising livestock, I don't need to talk to you right now. Like you're the last
Yeah,
person I need to talk to. What you need to do is stop it because you can't just have 100 acres, 500 acres, 1,000 acres, or thousands of acres where you only run plants and you have no livestock. That's ridiculous. And that is exactly what all these monoculture people are doing. And putting 10 plants on there isn't helping. You still need to have livestock. And if you don't have
mm,
animals on there, then you're not helping the situation
yeah.
at all.
And
And
that's what
that,
I'm doing. I have steers. I run steers on my property. They graze the
mhm,
grass, and then,
mhm.
I trade with others. Uh,
Well, you
so
know
you
then
hopefully,
that you can't
mhm,
grow grass without the beeves. If you don't walk the beeves and they don't have the opportunity and then you don't clean behind them with the chickens, then you have nothing going on. And if you
yeah,
don't have the diversity of the livestock, you're going to have worms and you're going to have a need to vaccinate. And you're going to have a need to do all these things. And we don't eat, I haven't eaten meat with any vaccines in 20 years, and I won't. And we don't drink the milk like that either.
that's
So
right.
you only need that nonsense, that interference in nature if you aren't honoring nature. And the only way to honor it is to have a polyface farm, meaning multifaceted faces on the land, working the land together. And then there's kind of a pattern in which they clear the land in order to create the magnetic vibration, massaging the soil so that that instigates the natural seed bed. So you shouldn't be seeding. You don't have
Right.
to. The ancient seed beds will come up on their own, and you should
Yeah.
honor that. So most people don't know anything about that or how to do that either. So this is what we are teaching. That in addition to, using, um,
Natural
ponds.
fertilizer. Yeah.
No, we don't use what?
The natural fertilizer, the manure,
Oh,
spread it
well,
around.
that we don't use fertilizer that way. That's what the animals are for, right?
That's
And
right.
and
Yep.
so you have to move them. You can't like people think they can just shovel it up and just dump it on something. No. You have
Yeah.
to actually have them deliver it wherever it belongs. And so that's why Alan Savory and all of these people, like he's one of the, people that was introducing regenerative agriculture for this, this timeline, and he did that after he did the very wrong thing when he was just following orders as a military man, killing all the elephants on Africa. And people hold that against him all the time. Well, he decided to use what he learned in that time, and he has dedicated his entire life to turning it around once he was able to learn the truth about the harm that he caused. And so he spent all the rest of his life only pushing to remedy all the problems that he created by killing off all the large fauna that needed to be alive, and he should have left them intact. So
Our farmers' biggest problem here is they cannot use their own seed to plant their crops. They have to sell it
that's
and get
not the biggest
government.
problem. The biggest
No.
problem is the livestock regulation, which doesn't even get you to as far as the seeds. That's the
Yeah.
bigger problem. The people don't go into livestock management because they can't afford it. They can't think about it because it's so much more heavily regulated than the seeds. So the
We have a
GMO
lot
seed
of
is the
beef.
last problem. What I'm saying is stop caring about the seeds. Pay more attention because the ancient seed bed is still within the earth. Get the
Right.
animals out. So you don't need all that. You're focused on the wrong thing. Also, you're
Yeah.
so busy trying to eat plant material, which is straight sugar, that you're going to keep everyone diabetic.
That's
Wrong,
right.
wrong way.
And
Get back
canola
on.
was airplane fuel, not meant to be
I mean,
consumed.
everything the corporatocracy is doing is 100% lies and bullshit.
Yeah.
And so, no, if they are promoting it, go. If they say to go up, go down.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so we don't care about the plants like that because if you care about the animals, the plants will come naturally. It's inevitable.
Yeah, and we're fortunate. We have a lot of beef, we'll call it growing, raising on Alberta because we're all
Hmm.
about the beef. And it's
Except
nice
it's
because,
overly regulated. They
yeah,
demand the vaccination. They want to track and trace those animals. They want to, impose all the tags, and they don't allow them to live out their lives. They restrict it. You have to process them before 30 months. That's a big problem. That's
Yeah,
nonsense. You got to raise
yeah.
grass-fed beef out for 8 and 10 years, and they don't make it possible for anyone to be able to actually allow them to live a full life, number one. Number two, they try to act like mad cow disease is the side effect of them living long. That's also lies and bullshit. I mean, everything they do is so absolutely nonsensical. It is basic, just like NASA stands for not a space program. Like it's not, and so these are everything they do is so blatantly offensive, right?
Yes, just
Yeah.
meant to oppress us and make us work harder. Like when they fly those stupid spray planes over top of your property, you can complain, you can phone the tower, you can do different things, but essentially they're there to wreck land and they don't care about people. So,
Because they're not
yeah,
alive, because they're dead corporate fictions, and we already know
that's
that.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
So do
All
you
right, I yield.
yield, Gwen? Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Go ahead, Annie.
Hello. So I have so much stuff going on. It's crazy.
Hmm.
I dropped a little bit of one of the cases we're working on, or that I just finished. Took me months to get it done. But the next thing, if you look at the Lieber Code and the Hague and hold on, let me get some notes so I don't ramble and wander. Uh, Law of Peace, the rules in there say they can't poison us. And as civilian non-combatants and as protected persons, they're violating those and we're going after their
Yeah.
butts. So just FYI, I think the next thing we'll be going after will be the poisoning from both the sky and for everything else that we're doing. And we'll go after it this way and we'll take it to the JAG and to
That doesn't go to the JAG. It goes
where
to
does it go
the.
to
It
then?
only goes to the Army.
Okay,
So,
well that is
and
the
also
Army
we're
JAG.
no, it's not. The JAG is the
Yeah, it
Navy.
is. There's four of them. You need to do a little more research. So the
I'm just
JAG
telling you what
Army.
Anna said. Listen to me, Annie. I'm telling you what Anna said. She
Okay.
said that we're supposed to go to because she had been
You
focused
go
on
to
the
the
JAG.
provost marshal, actually. The JAG, where the Army JAG, which is the one that I used, is
Hmm.
secondary. And there's
Okay.
actually two others that we look at as well. And I haven't
Well,
gone to those guys yet. But going after our treaties, which are the strongest point, which Anna talks about,
hmm
that's what we're doing. And that's what I've been looking at. And to move this forward for the poisoning, they are violating our treaties
hmm
and the administrative courts as well as the UCMJ,
right.
the tribunals. And so we're going after that. Now, if I'm not sending them to the right place, I'm going to find out.
hmm
And that would be really good to know.
Well, Anna had already found a lot of this out, which is why I brought it up. So,
Whatever she's got, send it. And because I'm already duplicating and sending that stuff out, and I dropped a
mhm.
couple of the thingies that we're doing in there. And also when they continue to bother us after we've already sent in our notices, I dropped something in there for somebody who had a ticket or something. We're using
I
that for
mean,
the land.
okay, so first of all, I'm going to address that.
Which
So,
one?
yeah, the ticket. So the
Okay.
thing about the ticket is they're soliciting you for business. You told them whatever you wanted, and then they are just like going to constantly solicit you. So they're soliciting you, they're trying to sell you something, and you keep contracting out of the habit of just agreeing or feeling any kind of way about it because they've trained you to feel upset about it with a boot on your neck because that is how they treated you. So you're going to tell them this is who I am and this is who I'm not and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that and then they're going to come to you and say yeah you are and this is what you have to do and blah 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 and da 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 da. You're going to go no. And you're just going to look at them. And then
Exactly.
they're going to say da 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 da. You're going to say no. And this is going to go on powerfully. When I stood up against them, it was always minimally for an entire hour. And you don't have to say anything. And you should practice being silent. There's nothing to say. You just look at them and give them the man stare like they're crazy. And you just keep looking at them like the man stare or grandma. You know, when grandma says, what are you doing? What are you doing, kid? I can see you under that glass coffee table trying to hide from me. I see you. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then also, I'm still talking to my other grandma friend drinking my coffee because I don't care that they're under there hiding, playing a game. It's okay. Like, let them play their game. And you just say, hey, brother, what are you doing? No, honey, we're not doing that. Okay. Come on out from under the table. Go do something else for a little bit. Why don't you go outside and play now? Right? That's all you do. This is your whole attitude should be like, no, no, darling, we said no. But when they come to your house with their boots in their arms and they come to your door, you back them up like I did all the way to the street. Get them off of your property so that you get them outside of your jurisdiction. And then you just say, no, thank you. You don't have to do anything else. And they're going to be like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah," and you just say, no, thank you. And they say, "Rah, rah," they're having a fit. Okay. You need to view it like a little toddler going, but I wanted the candy and I just want the candy and you won't let me have it. And you're just going to say, no, bye, go play, go do something. And they're going to be like, "Ah, ah, ah." You're just, we don't we don't do that. We just say no. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to get a gun out. You don't have to do anything. You just have to look at them like they're, like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And just keep looking at them like that. And they're going to make you stand there for more than an hour because that's what they've done with me every single time until they finally, you just tell them, whatever it is that you're trying to say to me, I'm going to need you to put that in writing because I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth. And they're going to say, oh my God, what? And they're going to sit in their car. They're going to call their boss and say, this lady is telling me that I got to put it in writing, la, la, la. The boss is going to be like, bro, you can't put it in writing because, we're criminals. We're criminals. We don't put nothing in writing. They're just supposed to just go yell at her, make her do it, because that's the little, punk guy who's in the office, the administrator, who is just like, you just need to go and put your boot on her neck until she does what you say. And you need to know the truth for yourself. And when you know it, you're just going to look at them and say, I just don't understand the words coming out of your mouth. And I do not comply. And so go put it in writing and I will take a look at it and I'll think about it. And until that happens, bye. And guess what? They will go away. They're not going to go away the first time. They're not going to go away the second time. They might go away the third time. They're not going to go away the third time. But after the third time, you will notice that they will continue to solicit you in paper. They're never going to tell you what you asked for. They're going to solicit you. Just like today, I got a letter from the IRS saying, you need to file for 2024. Okay. Return to sender. Bye. I'm not talking to you, brother. I already told you I'm done. Okay. I'm not going to open it. I don't need to know what they're saying because whatever they're saying is lies and bullshit. I don't have to care. Anna said, anyone who declares, there's a whole article about how to return the mail because these are ledgers. So when you get something in the actual box, this is a ledger. If you open the ledger, you are taking responsibility for the debt. Okay? If you want to take responsibility for the debt, then open it. And if you don't, return it to sender because there's no people being addressed. There's no people being addressed on these things. I just keep these here for examples. There's no people on here. The only thing on here is all caps names. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. You can send them, a Chicago Manual of Styles and let them learn how to speak English. Okay, I bet the French Canadians know how to speak English better than they do. But if it's all uppercase, if it's in all capital letters, it's gibberish. It means absolutely nothing to me. Okay? So, and that's the reason why when you code past the building with the capital, all capital COURT, they're telling you this is a game. You are in Candyland or the Monopoly system, like what Thomas likes to say. You're in the monopoly system and you're looking at their monopoly building that says all caps COURT. This is not even a real place. I don't even know what that means. So I yield to you, Raymond. You have something for us? Welcome.
I guess I
Thank you.
yield.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry, Annie.
thank you.
Annie, sorry. We'll come
Anybody?
back. Annie, I apologize to you.
Rayon, BC. I guess I don't qualify with my as a farm with my 6 chickens, but we'll try. We'll try our best here. Uh, I just thought I'd bring up a interesting point that a lot of people aren't aware of, and well, here in Canada specifically, uh, it's this idea of the a law that was passed or a act that was passed in 1931 that freed all the provinces from the actual uh, federal government. And unfortunately, the people in power at the time decided that they wanted to stay in power, so they didn't mention it to all the provinces. And so, I don't think Anna's aware of this. Uh, but what it means is that all the provinces now are available to step up to be a state territorial, or I'm not saying it quite right, but territorial uh, states available for their own choices. They just don't. Nobody knows it. So the it's clearly pointed out in a book called "Ho Canada" by Russell Roger Smith, and so it's just an important piece to know because it's been so suppressed. Once the people in power caught on to it, they made sure that anything that went that direction was suppressed. So that's all I wanted to share.
That's all. Is that all? Listen,
it's a
are you
it's a
are
major
you
piece.
are you able to share where we can find that book or any of that literature in the chat because that would be powerful. I'm
Um,
sure everybody would appreciate it. And I mean,
yeah,
and if that's the truth, then that's fantastic. Every state should start, or every
England's
province should start, building their assemblies up in that way. Then that's what that sounds like. I mean, that's fantastic. Um,
Yeah, I'll send along the information. I don't know if I can get into the chat in a timely fashion, but we'll see what happens here.
well, if you email it to me, I can help share it. I share things on my Telegram channel, and so everybody can just kind of catch it from there. It's just, you know, anything that anyone shares with me that uh, I mean, I have to kind of look at it and discern for myself if I feel like it's something that I should
100%.
offer.
Yep,
But
100%.
but I definitely I think it's important and everyone who's looking there should know that they should use their discernment and let me know if they find any reason to object to that information. And I'll remove it because um I think I've only had one thing that I've ever posted that people have objected that it wasn't true that I was able to remove. But that's fantastic information. And I bet that would be so liberating for everyone there because I know that one of the biggest problems on Africa also was trying to figure out how to get their proper standing, because there's so much diversity there with all the kingdoms and stuff. So they had to agree to work together if they wanted to uh, give up their own national voice. But and so in that sense, like our counties are the highest um, power, but then the way that they're tied to the land, we're able to protect each other. I wonder if there's some information about that for Canada. Not sure about that. Anyway,
Thank you.
thank you for that, Raymond. Do you
Yep,
yield?
yield.
Okay. Annie, did you want to come back and say something? Because I really wasn't trying to cut you off. I messed up. I messed that up. Did Annie leave? Oh, maybe she left. Okay, I don't see her in the room anymore. All right, maybe she'll pop back in. All right, Thomas, thank you. I yield to you.
What's great is Annie could always get the recording. And what I wanted to say, Niti, just 2 points. One, just for clarity on just kind of making sure that everything resonates with what you're saying. What I wrote is Niti's explanation regarding mail. That is the statement. However, the foundation for that statement, Niti has also given notice 100% to her county. So if you haven't given notice to your county and know who you are, if you're on unincorporated or incorporated, um, that's that foundation. You have to, know where you've been, know where you stand, know where you're going to be able to do this, to be in this space of knowledge. There's a learning journey and it's very easy. But I just wanted to clarify that you give notice first and then you rebut, because like, hey, I already give you notice, stop bugging me. It's predatorial. We're not doing that. And then so shifting gears, I hope you're okay with anything. I got the nod, yes. Okay, so regarding Ray and Annie, I just have this like blanket statement. um, when you're sovereign first in time, first in line, it's a systemic move. Okay, so when I say, we're the American States Assembly's 50 States of Union, backed by the Federation and the Indemnity Bond, where we do what's best for land people, leading with love, peace, and truth, and we give sovereignty to 17 other countries as well. Not only are states of the Union, but also, or not but also, states of the Union as well as union states. Okay, so I'm not sure what Annie is trying to put forward and use the standing and all that. If that's, as an American employee, as the State of the Union, okay, she could vouch for that realm. However, as I comprehend it, the American employers are of the Union states. We're Union states, American employers, the Americans that are back resonating with the forefathers of 1776 that have coverage through American sovereignty outside this U.S. incorporated matrix, which is the monopoly system. Yes, it's mono one, but also synthetic fake. It's one fake system. So my point is I think we need to break it down, states of the union and union states, and how there's a difference and how you would approach it lawfully. And with that, I yield.
It's true, and it's really important. And a lot of these things have already been done. A lot of this work has already been done. And so, um, a lot of we need to kind of just get our Anna has really made it easier for us here on the States to make it so that we can focus on just doing the two things, which is get the courts up, get the courts up, get your basic enforcement behind it, and have the communication line with the IBA ready. That's it. Everybody is making this so hard. And it's not that they're just making it hard. They're doing it because they're all captured. They're all infiltrated. They all have somebody who's walking them in a circle so that they can't feel confident to stand up. And this is where we are hoping these conversations are helping people to gain their confidence. And so, Muddy Fronts, I just wanted you to know, like, I'm not trying to knock you down, because if you feel confident to say whatever you're saying, great. I think that's wonderful. All I was saying is we can't have a conversation here about what's legal over there or not or whatever, because we can't do that. That's outside of our jurisdiction. And so I don't speak about things that are none of my business, right? It's none of my business, girl. It's none of my business. So if you feel like you know it and you're confident with it, rock and roll. That's great. I can just only point things out, and that's what we do here. And anyone who's here on your nation with you, it's a great time for you to collaborate with them so that y'all can talk about it, because the way the law works is it takes two to agree. That's how the living law works. It takes two to agree. When two people agree, if you walk forward with that, then you're creating the common law. This is what people don't comprehend is the common law hasn't been exercised. It's a muscle that's been fatigued and is worn out and it's not being exercised as powerfully as it should be. And it only is working for the people who are exercising it. Like Annie, whatever it is that she says that anybody else thinks or believes, she knows who she is and got herself out of jail. You can't lock her up, okay? If they try to lock her up, which they did, they had to let her out because she was like, no, you don't know who I am, but I do. And they had to spit her out, like spit her out, okay? And so if you don't know who you are, there's no piece of paper that can help you because this isn't you. This is not you. This is you. You are of substance. Okay. And so it doesn't matter what identification card you have or what piece of paper or what stack of papers you have. It matters that you know proper English. Okay. Because Roman civil law, they are operating in proper English all over this one world government on earth that they're impressing upon you. And you should be able to say who you are and stand on it. And then your behavior has to match your words. Your behavior has to match. So actions speak louder than words. You don't get to just come right in your mouth and then, you don't stand up on it because that's how it goes, which means, like Anna, she's very uncomfortable not in her home right now because she's standing on it. She's doing that to create a major systemic move. She had to exercise it on a level that could be witnessed and observed and documented systemically because nobody else who was being thrown out of their house knew what they were doing. Okay? And this is what no one seems to get. Oh, Anna even got kicked out of her house. She's so stupid. No, she had to do that so that she could show you how to get it back. Okay? She could have just stayed in her house and told them to go kick rocks like she has been for over 40 years. All right? But she had to show you. And then she did it with a big power move to make it a demonstration and an example on a world stage for the whole world to collapse. We're the world destroyers over here, okay? Not Earth, world. Their fake Disney world, we're destroying their world, okay? And the only way to do that is to exercise each of those muscles. And that's what we're doing. And so people don't like it, even on our assemblies, because they don't get it. Okay. Because they only can see the things in front of them. Like this revolution isn't going to be televised, friends. This revolution is not going to be televised. Everybody's up in arms, How come the peace flag isn't flying at the UN? Guess what? The UN is incorporated. Duh. They had to shut up and sit down. All they could do was take all the flags down. If you pay attention, the UN had all the corporate flags that they were flying for all the corporate fake and phony governments that they were representing, and they had to take them all down. So what is this signal that everybody should recognize? The fact that they don't have no flags up. They had to come in and sit down and shut up. Okay? Anna said, sit down and shut up. They can't fly our flag because they're not sovereign and we are. They can't stand over us or with us with their fake and phony flags. And they can't fly our real flag because they're fake and we're not. Duh. You can't see our flag in DC because that's the federal government which stands under us. It's not us. Duh. They can't fly it. But no one seems to know these basic elementary things, these elementary things, right? And so I'm not saying this like a dig on everybody, but let's just be honest, okay? Anna doesn't speak it so plainly because she's trying to honor everybody and presume that everyone has a level of intelligence to be able to keep up with her. She's not going to speak to you as if you can't. Like, listen, when you're raising your babies, if you speak to them in baby talk, They grow up speaking baby talk, okay? If you speak to them like, you know, adults are not, we're not adulterating. If you speak to them like men and women of age, then when they come to age, they will also know how to speak like men and women of age. But if you speak to them like they're babies and they're not of age yet, if they're not of the, age of the majority, then they are going to behave like they're the age of minority, right? And so she's raising everyone up powerfully. So she's speaking over you the power with which she wants you to be able to move. But like when I was coming up, my mom said to me one day, she goes, Niti, why can't you take a hint? Why can't you take a hint? Okay? It's like, mom and dad got to peek around the curtain for just a minute and go, hey, just do what I'm doing. Don't do what I say, just do what I'm doing. They say that, right? Do as I do, not as I say, right? Because they mess up sometimes a little bit or whatever, get frustrated, right? So they say, do as I do, do as I say, not as I do, right? That's what that means. Like, I'm just a big kid like you, okay? So sometimes I'm going to mess up too. So don't do what I'm doing, do as I say, right? And every once in a while, they got to peek around the curtain and say, look, why can't you just take a hint? You're supposed to do it this way. Don't be messing it up like me, okay? So Anna can't do that right now on the world stage with everybody looking at her. So I'm here trying to do that for her and give you the real talk because somebody needs to be doing the real talk. I'm taking all the slings and arrows for it, and I don't care. Reasons why I don't entertain private conversations. If you don't come here and speak, shut up. So we're here to speak the truth and give power back to the people. And that means that you guys need to know what the actual situation is and see it for what it is, and then find a way to use your creativity, your discernment, your purview, and share it with everybody around you so that you can help us get it through to the people, right? All right. With that, I'm going to yield to Kathleen Davis and then back to Thomas. I yield.
Hi again, Niti. Would it be possible, and would you mind if I switch topics for a couple of seconds to ask you a question?
Absolutely. Can I just answer Tunde in the chat real fast?
Of course you may.
I just want to bring attention to what Tunde said. He said, I think you can only take a hint if you already experienced that, what the thing is about. And I can misinterpret a hint and I need clear communication. I agree with you, Tunde, which is the reason why sometimes you got to peel back the curtain and go, hey, get this hint, right? So my mom was doing that for me, right? So I'm doing that for you also, or I'm trying to. And I'm not always right either. And then when I'm wrong, believe me, Anna is yelling at me, going, girl, what you doing? Nah, that's not the one. That's not the way. It's supposed to be this way. So, we all got to get it wrong a little bit so that she can tell us, no, it's this way. And she does. She always will say, okay, Niti, come on, come back this way, you know. So, and I'm happy to be corrected and put back on the path because I want to stay on the narrow path. All right. And so I yield back to you. Where'd you go? Where'd
I'm
our
right
friend go?
here.
Oh, there she is. Okay, I
I'm
lost you on
right
the
here.
screen.
I just muted so that if my dog barked, it wouldn't come over and interrupt what you were saying.
No, thank you. I
Um,
just lost you on the screen there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. My question is about the Global Family Group's vendor accounts. I was up onto the Global Family doing the education, so I was just scrolling the site. And I don't know, one, with your business that you have or Gregory on Kansas, are the two of you going to publish? I shouldn't say publish, but put your businesses on there so fellow ASNs could possibly purchase items or, in your case, meats or livestock products. And the other question to that was, are we hopefully going to add more vendors that are in America because I was looking and a lot of them are out of the country, and that's wonderful. I'm glad that they have joined global, but there's a lot of items and products that we need everywhere, just local things, not necessarily all clothing, attire, or things of that nature, more the basic necessities that we all need. And I yield to you.
So that's really great, Kathleen. And what you're bringing forward is there's not enough people on global. And you are 100% correct. And it is the reason why it's going to be very important for each living man who has a global account to fund their nation. If they just take it and run with it and go just buy a whole bunch of Bugattis and do whatever they're going to do and just waste their time, they could also take their stuff and go and put a boot on people's necks too. You know that? They sure could be dishonorable. And guess what? If they behave dishonorably after they're declared as sovereign, they're gonna feel the wrath, because when you do things like that and you cause harm, we hang people for that. So people should really think about 10 times before they take action to cause harm. But our accounts are going to be so big, so wealthy. We're going to be so wealthy that I don't need to talk to my assembly or anybody if all I want to do is go change the school system on my state, in my town, or whatever. I will just do it. That's called a special interest. Okay. If I want to change all the roads because I think that the way that they're managing the roads suck, I can just go and do it. I don't need to talk to my assembly about it. I will just go make it right and make it better and make it whatever. And I can just fix it if I want to, because that's how much money I would have. Okay. And in the beginning, we're going to have to do all those things. And then it could be possible, like if I'm using my money to go out and use it for outreach and fund people until they get their global accounts opened. And then if they don't repay me for it, that's how honorable or dishonorable those people are, right? If, or maybe I'd give it to them and then I ask them to pay it forward and help to bring 20 more people or whatever, right? So what you're saying is, hey, there's not enough businesses on there for me to support. And I have been arguing that from day one. I have been saying since day one that we need to target all business owners and bring them home. And that's the reason why I started the business call, because I have been running my business in an unincorporated fashion, even when I still had my nonprofit status, because I didn't know that there was a choice until I met Anna. And when I met Anna and she told me the choice, I was like, well, dude, they already told me I was a self-proclaimed governing body. I just didn't know that I didn't have to do that. Why? Because I didn't know how to get a bank account without it. I didn't know how I could do this without it, that without it, rent space. Like you can't do that without it. Most of the people that you don't see any businesses on there, because when I'm talking to businessmen right now and telling them how to unincorporate, they don't know how to do that until the banks are open, because they can't pay their lease. They can't pay, like if you're talking about my regenerative farmers, you don't know what it costs to have land that you run cows on. You don't know what it costs to breed more steers. You don't know what it costs to have milking cows. Everybody acts like they can have one cow and milk it and that's going to be their milk. You don't understand how milk works. Milk is seasonal, okay? And you have to have babies to have milk. And that means you need a bull to have impregnate the mom so that the mom has the baby. Then the mom has to have time to have the baby before the mom can produce milk again. This is how nature works. Most people don't have any concept of how nature works. This is the bigger problem. So therefore, if you don't have at least 5 beasts on your land, you don't have milk year round, period. Okay? That's a minimum. And 99% of the people don't have 40 acres, so they can't have 5 beasts that big on their land. They don't know how many acres is needed for how many cow acres you need. You need cow acres to be able to have cows, okay? They have to have enough food to be able to do this. Otherwise, you're going to be feeding them what? Twinkies and grain and Skittles and crap. And that's what these people do. And then you end up with people who are like, I have a dairy allergy. No, the hell you don't. You have a sugar allergy. Lactose intolerance is a sugar allergy. You are highly diabetic and you are, having a problem with insulin resistance, and everything goes back to insulin resistance and sugar. Stop eating plants. Wake up. Eat beef and eat butter, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And also, you can't have raw milk without having beef. Because guess what? You got to have all the babies to have the milk. So then you end up with a whole world of cows. Do you see the problem? And so, if a farmer isn't able to sell the raw milk to make the money, which can afford him the cow acres to have more of the cows, okay? And y'all don't want to support that because you're going to let the USDA regulate them because you don't believe that you have enough sense to just know that this is good or this is bad and say it to the guy because you don't want to hurt the guy's feelings and all this other lies and bullshit, okay? Like, just be honest. This is where Anna says stop lying. Okay? When somebody sells you the milk that doesn't make you feel good or you don't like it or whatever in the world, then you got to tell the guy, hey, brother, what did happen to the milk? Because there was something wrong with it. So then he can go, oh my God, what happened? I don't know. Then he can look into it and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this happened or that could have happened. And then they can make it right and they can make it right for you. And when they do that, they're making it right for their whole system. And when they do that, they make it better for everyone. But that guy, between trying to figure out what happened to your milk and trying to figure out why that mama ran away and how to get her back, because mama cows are moody and they're big and they're strong and they do whatever in the world they want to do. And if mama wants to have an attitude and go out late at night and break a couple of fences and then come back when she feels like getting milk because she's mad because now her udders are full and she needs you to milk her, because she'll come back so you can milk her because she needs her udders, this is a thing. These beasts have like the minds of their own. Okay. And this is what the guy on the land is dealing with that nobody knows. But when I say all of that, now your half a gallon of milk that costs $12, you're going to shut up and pay it because that's what the guy had to go through just to get you your 1/2 gallon of milk. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of labor. And he has to do it the right way. Otherwise, it's going to make you sick. If he wants to scale it up, it's going to make you sicker. That's why we don't industrialize these things, okay? So if he's doing it on a smaller scale, it's him and his family doing it. That's why it's $12. If you want it to be $1, then that means you're going to scale it. And guess what? It's going to make you sick. So is it worth the $12, which is equivalent to some crappy Starbucks drink? Or is it going to be $1, which is not even a Starbucks drink? That's McDonald's coffee. Okay. Do you feel the difference? And so, where is that business owner? Where is he? He's not here because he's dealing with the banks. He has to deal with that bank because he has to deal with the land and the space or the buildings or whatever. And for the infrastructure that he needs all of that. And then for that infrastructure, so that he either is going to be knowledgeable like we are about the truth, which he doesn't have time to iron out. Then he has to go and practice that common law and exercise that muscle with the government on a constant basis, who's harassing him every minute of the day because he's the most powerful man on earth. Okay. He is the most dangerous man on earth. And so if he breaks out of that, okay, and he starts doing what we're doing right now before the money comes, it's easy for them to bury him and him to lose everything. He's not a freaking idiot. And why should he give all that up for you to have a glass of milk? You see? So this is the reason why you don't have anyone else on that list yet.
Okay.
And until the bank's open, you're not going to have them there because they have too much shit to deal with. And
That's true. I understand. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not yelling at you, Kathleen.
No,
I love you so much for bringing this up because everyone needs to know exactly what the hell is going on. So the few of us who have sacrificed everything and have been doing that and standing on it, I've been told by my old coordinator and some of these old corporate heads, oh, why don't you just go run your little farm business? Okay, I will. Because guess what? It's unincorporated, unlike you. And yeah, it is
Mhm.
little because guess what? I don't need a big amount of anything for my own little family over here. Okay. And once you all realize that you can just do the amount of work that you need to support your family, we're going to get back to thousands of millions of other homesteaders. So you're not going to buy milk in a store because that's dumb. You should be able to walk outside and milk your cow and have your 5 or 6 cows or have Raymond's 5 or 10 chickens because everybody should have chickens in their backyard and a couple of cows and a couple of something else and feed themselves and get it freaking over with. Why are you relying on a grocery store?
That's
Oh,
true. And I understand. I'm sorry. I understand exactly what you're talking about because back in the 90s, when I moved to Canada,
mm-hmm.
my ex-husband and I, my daughter's father, he was two or three, his family were a generational farmer, second or third, his mom's ex-husband. So we decided we were going to try that. We had 150 crossbred um, beef cattle, and he got it through his half brother and his connections. And I understand, I know 100% what the cost of raising beef cattle is. You have to have the vets come out, the injections
Okay,
back in the
that is
90s.
the
So
corporate way.
FDA stuff. And
That's the
just,
corporate way.
yeah, it is.
And
But just,
but
sorry.
if I'm listen, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
That's the corporate way, which is
Yeah,
more expensive and
it
dirty
is.
and
It
dirty
is.
and
But
dirty.
just It is, but just to make it like you were saying, how much bureaucracy and crap they have to go through, just to make it quick, the FDA and all of their little
Hmm.
cohorts and their buddies, they basically did the same thing. They took over, they ran us out, they bankrupted it. So yeah, I can understand why a lot of our farmers and regenerative farmers do not want to participate at the moment because of a lot of that. So I get that part.
But
I'm glad that
that
you,
is what feeds, listen, that everything that's happening there is what feeds the next thing that you would bring up, which would
yeah,
be any crafts. You talking about wool clothes? You're talking about
mhm,
cotton? You're talking about real clothes, not
yeah,
polyester crap, okay? So, wool, by the way, is how they can make bathing suits because wool can repel water naturally. It
yeah.
shouldn't be made out of nylon, but nobody knows that. Okay. So there's a whole lot of parts and pieces to this, but I don't care. Pick a category. I can bring any category of business back to the land and soil and bring it back to a farm because everything is tied to natural resources, everything. And so everything comes back to the farm that nobody wants to work on as they've been trained not to by the corporate vision that tells you that you don't want to farm, which programs all our babies into thinking they don't want to farm, which means they don't know how to do anything. Because guess what? A farmer is a jack of all trades. A farmer knows how to be the plumber and the HVAC guy and the electrician and the mechanic and the everything because they have to. And they also know how to be immediate emergency medical. They know how to do everything or else they're going to die because they're out in some rural area where nobody's going to get there in 5 or 10 minutes. And when they chop their leg off or something else, they got to figure out how to live long enough for somebody else to come help them. And, so I know that you asked a real innocent, simple question, but this is the hard truth answer to why there's nobody there yet.
Understand it. I appreciate your honesty about that. And a lot of us understand that a lot of us aren't in that position to do that um, and
Yeah.
make that move. But I'm glad that you said that as time comes and more people are brought onto the land and soil, that that's going to change. And I know as globally, as we do that, we're going to be a very good thing to do. And it's going to grow and grow, hopefully. And we're going to hopefully rebuild and regenerate this wonderful planet and heal
Hmm.
it as we
Well,
heal
what are
ourselves.
you going to do, Kathleen? Like you should have a vendor account. Everybody should because everyone has a gift, right? So like what is your gift going to be that you're going to offer? This is the reason why everybody should have a vendor account and be in business because they don't realize you're in a contract just because you showed up here onto this Zoom. You
Mhm.
contracted to come here and share thoughts and energy with all of us, right? And so this is a
Mhm.
contract, right? So in that same vein, whatever energy exchange is going to happen going forward, put your business on there. We want to see you on there. What are you going to do on there? Right?
Mhm.
And you
Right
might
now,
not
I'm
know
in.
that yet, right? Like you might not know because like, oh, look, a lot of us who are in the poly, like the monopoly system, because like my husband's in the monopoly system, but he is so excited to get away from that. And so he's been creating his vendor account, and guess what? That's him daydreaming and bringing to fruition the future, which is what we want you and everyone else to do. So if you don't have an account there, everyone here on this call, you should go there. Think of what is your dream, and then you're going to change your mind 100 times. Just remember two things, okay? One, we can only create one vendor account per living man, all right? So make sure you make it something generic enough that you can encompass all your talents underneath that, whatever it is. And then second, you can add multiple categories to your business because let's be honest, you don't know how to just do one thing. You know how to do so many things that you don't even realize because you've never had time to think about it. But when you can think about it, then you'll realize that you're going to do multiple things and nothing's going to make a whole lot of money. Everything's going to make a little bit of money, but together, all of it, and I say money, I'm just talking about energy exchange because you need something to be able to offer for something that you don't know how to do or want to do, right? Like I might not want to have milk, but I want to drink milk, but I don't want to produce the milk, right? But
Mhm.
Gwen over there is producing the milk. So I'm going to do the wool bathing suits that she wants and she's going to do the milk and we're going to have an energy exchange, but like I need milk more than however many bathing suits that she might need, so I need to give her more something else energy exchange, and that could be
Mhm.
beads and feathers, whatever it's going to be, like whatever we're going to call money, you know. And but it could just be a ledger. Like all it needs to be is like a ledger. And then that
Mhm.
way she can use that ding ledger to get whatever else she needs from the next guy. Because she might not
True.
need a lot of bathing suits, but she might not be raising lamb, or she might need to get more cows to be able to make more milk. So she'll have to rotate it that way. But whatever it is, you see, we're all going to create this
Yeah.
balance, this energy balance. And that way, no one's beholden to anybody and everyone is doing their part.
True. I think like you said, my mind has changed multiple times. Initially, like right now, I'm a private nursing assistant and I go to people's homes and I just take care of them. I've got two clients now, well, one now, and I love that. It's such a rewarding feeling passing my energy and helping others heal in whatever spiritual, physical, mental realm I can do to help promote their healing. Some A lot of them are elderly. Sometimes it does, but while I'm there, they like it. It's helping them. And it is very spiritual and rewarding for me. But the one thing I've really started to want and look into more, and Anna has talked about it on her Monday night webinars before, is that with the number of med beds that are out there right now, that I know that I've seen some. There's the military grade to regenerate limbs and things of that. And then I've looked and done my due process and some research. There's a lot of cosmetology things using the med beds right now. And so that's where I want to think I focus, because my passion is healthcare. And if I could do something in that realm, that is what I truly would love to be able to do. Possibly get with my friend William on Hernando and some of our others, and maybe actually part of that was his idea, and possibly get like a med bed to help those in our county. So they don't have to travel all
Absolutely.
the way to that. But that's where I'm looking into right now, to
Hmm.
do something and either learn how to do it. So I'm trying to do my due diligence on looking into, for the future when the GFG opens up and I'm financially able to look into where to get med bed training. And it's a very hard one because it's so new. It's very difficult to find any information about where living men and women can
Mm-hmm.
go to get that training. And that was one of the things I had put up on I'd asked you for on the chat is I was hoping that to possibly ask Anna that on
Mm-hmm.
one of the Monday night webinars, but I don't
Can
know
can can I
Shannon's
can I say
email.
something about that?
Of course you can.
Okay, guess what?
What?
You don't need med beds.
Really?
Your investment in the people that you do right now, Kathleen,
Uh-huh.
that is the most important thing that you do. You do the most important work. Do you know that?
Caring for others and passing
You
energy
you
along?
you already are doing it.
Wow.
What you're doing is you are transmitting your energy, and it's the reason you can only do two people
Mm-hmm.
because it's an energy suck for you.
It is.
Right. So then you need to go and recharge in the sun. You need to be able to go, and that's why you're on Florida, where you belong. So you can go out onto the beach and you are right there where you're able to do the important work that you have the passion for. What you're doing is more important than anything because everyone right now is traumatized. Everyone right now is super broken, and especially the elderly. So what you're doing is priceless.
Well,
And
thank you for
it is
that.
it is the most important work. And like Reiki, if you were thinking about it like a Reiki specialist, you're just speaking love over those elderly because you're probably with them while they're napping or doing something and you feel like you're maybe not so important, but your energy is right there with them. That is the most important thing. And if you were to put them on a PMF mat or magnets and then do that or take them and put them in the sun and make it possible for them to be able to lay in the sun while you keep hands on them, while you just sit there and pray over them and you meditate and regenerate yourself in the sun while you're doing that, and you pull that light force through you into them, that is the real med bed.
Okay. I didn't think of it that way. I have to actually do some more research. I've heard that
Hmm.
term before. What is it? Reiki? Reiki? What was
Reiki,
it?
Reiki.
I. Okay, I'll have to do that. And with
Hmm.
that, Niti, I yield because I've talked too much today.
Well,
Thank
I don't think
you.
so. We really appreciate you, Kathleen. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
well, I appreciate everybody on here too. Thank
All
you. I
right.
yield.
So we're going to yield to Thomas, then Elzania. I yield.
Um, following that, I just the energy was so resonating there. I was able to create a new prayer for the wife that left me in my past life to for me taking on these new ideals. It's my prayer that that wife would resonate with Kathleen's ideals, like her awakening and just the whole excitedness about being born again, basically, and coming out of that save our soul sea jurisdiction. I mean, it's a beautiful story. But I do want to I want to bring something in a rounded way, if I may, if by giving like notice and sharing some educational tools that I have seen from my observation. So here I go. All right, like news release lawfully. Okay, my observations like a news release lawfully would be like of good news and how we're building each other up and Americans on America once again. But what we've had in the last 160 years is if it bleeds, it leads. And us, the living people, object, to these false flag topics. Like they recreate even people in our assemblies. Oh, I lost my house. Oh, I got jailed. Oh, I've been abused. Oh, I know someone that got killed. It's all Hollywood nonfiction, fiction realm. So if you could get your head there, okay, and we could see we're in Looney Tune cartoon stuff. I mean, none of this. I mean, we should not be harming each other here. I mean, it's violating private property is what it is, and it's wrong. Okay, so be aware of the big stories. Don't get bought into that. Oh my gosh, I mean, how could I speak to this and ever know so much because they actually experience? I mean, it's all Hollywood. Okay, maybe for what reason? What's the intention? Hey, the five internal revenue investigations for each perpetrator of fraud, we'll bring it forward in its time. There's no statute of limitations, nothing to get excited about here. Okay, we're not in a hurry. We know who we are. So the interaction, um, be aware. Is it coming forward in the true and is coming forward in lies? And be aware of the lies because they're meant to deceive you. You know, they're right there, right next to the truth, all smiley and fuzzy and speaking things that are unheard of. Selling your savior for 30 pieces of silver. Unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is, I'm an American, documented, given full notice. Okay. A lot of that is published, notice, recording, standing, land patent, unincorporated county. But if I'm moved 3 feet after I've been given notice, that's just across the board violation. And I will document that. And where my living funds go, they go and filter through bucolic living for the 50 union states. And the reason why is because Niti knows the difference from states of the union and union states, okay? And you have to know how to delegate as a usufruct, and that's exactly what's been this problem with these five central banks. They don't know this stuff. They didn't even know they were under Roman civil law. They were just listening to something that was written on paper by a bunch of dead men. So with that, I'm an American on America. I'm in the middle of a ranch. It's a work day. No one has bothered me. They're looking at me. Hey, I give them standing to do what they're doing. They love to be out there. We got guys driving bobcats, moving ranch rails, gardening, all this stuff. Hey, I'm not a dictator. Let them do their will. I want to come along and amplify their will for America. All the farmers on the world. Niti knows this space. Anna knows this space. People are learning this space. And I'm just common Joe here, having fun. More fun than a human being can have. That's why I had to become a man online. And with that, I'm Thomas on California, and I yield. Peace.
Thank you, Thomas. All right, Elzania, you're next.
Hi there, it's Oceania, Ontario. That was beautifully said, Thomas. I kind of latched onto the word dictator because it's wonderful to see that everybody have these beautiful gifts, each and every one of us, and we do have certain strengths, right? So that's why when I gather with people, I like to know what everyone else's strengths are, and we can pull it together. Because as much as we can do lots, we have to start with one thing. And so, what's happened in my life in the last little while is actually been a blessing. It's been a blessing because when you get banned from certain people that feel that they still have to follow a corporatocracy or a hierarchical system and believe in the obedience and follow the orders and do what I say or shut their mouth or, calling someone at 1:30 in the morning and telling them to shut their mouth. That's the world that I don't want to be part of. That is not the world that I want. I want to be able to say, hey, you're not the boss. I'm not the boss. We're here together. We're going to work together. We're going to bring unity. Everybody's got strengths, and I have weaknesses. So I see other people who have the strengths, which are my weaknesses. So we feed off of each other. That's the energy exchange that I feel in. So it's actually been a blessing that I was banned from, an individual that feels that we still have to obey. We still have to stand and take orders. And I don't do that. I believe that everybody has a voice, especially when I speak for children that have no voices. And it's a big deal. And so I know that's my niche, and I know that is what I'm going to bring forward. And then I just read in the chat, one of the beautiful ladies says that's what she wants to do. So I said, hey, I really want to get in touch. And she's in Minnesota and she's got acres. And it's like, I've got all these ideas, but I also want to be with around people that I trust, people that care, and they're not going to squash me or not allow me to speak forward because nobody has the right to be banned. Nobody has the right to be banned from anyone. No one from this channel. No one's allowed to be banned from an assembly. You have to commit some horrible crime, which has to be brought forward into a general assembly so that everybody can then, as people, vote. But other than that, it's beautiful that we have this platform, that we can all be here and speak. Whether you're French, whether you're Polish, whether you're German, it doesn't matter. We have to unite, okay? And my time on this earth, I've realized I am here to speak for those that can't speak. And if somebody tries to shut me out, there becomes a big problem. So I'm very blessed to have gathered together with 52 people, lovely people that see what I see. And I'm so excited to move forward. I yield.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know what? We already talked about rights. These are man-made constructs. Everyone is innately free. So we don't need somebody to give us permission to be free. We already are free. And so when someone is, you know, trying to break someone, which is like, who's calling these people? I don't understand. But like when that's happening, that is harm. So you don't get to do harm. Everybody has to voluntarily participate in this. And also just remember this, anyone who is trying to leave anybody behind or war with somebody to prove something, you're leaving people behind. Why? And then there's a whole opposite side of that where you got an entire group of people saying, "Hey, you're leaving that group behind." You know? And I feel like, no, we're not. They've made their declaration, they have their account, and they're not being left behind if they don't have discernment to know that the sky is blue and the grass is green. We made sure that we bailed them out of the water. We made sure that they're safe. You know, they're on the land and the soil and they're going to get it together and they're free. We're not trying to hold them in bondage, right? But you have to hold people out of harm's way and you got to make sure they can't harm anybody else either during that time. And so there's that going on. But you don't do that at the expense of not allowing anyone to come home because when the banks do go live, and you are surrounded by people who don't have what you have, then you're going to be a target and it's just dumb. It's dumb not to allow them to have the same relief that you have. And who are you to stand between them and their, their inheritance that they're entitled to? So there's that part. And anyone standing in the way of that, that's what this is here for, because we just bring it here for everyone to be able to speak. There shouldn't be any. The only reason that people get put out or something is if they're drunk and disorderly and they don't know how to have an adult. You know, I say adult, but again, we mean age of majority. You know, if you don't know how to speak, um, then you might need to go home tonight and come back tomorrow. You know, that might need to happen. But it isn't that you just aren't allowed to come in and have your voice because that's the problem. And we have a lot, you know, if anyone who is aware uh, of the Great Fraud, they have a powerful voice because they had to have a powerful voice to even be able to see the Great Fraud. I mean, come on, right? So with that, I yield to you, Keith Black.
This is scary. El Nino was asking a question that is leading up to mine, and then you were talking about the same thing. I have two questions. The first one is from Jack. She's been waiting since August to be accepted as a GFG volunteer and to help with individual set up. She's
Keith,
reached out to several people to get it.
Keith, I'm sorry
Yes,
to interrupt you, but I'm having trouble
yes.
hearing you. Does anybody else have trouble? Because I feel like you're kind of rubber banding. I want your camera on because I like to be able to see you, but if it'll help you be clearer to have the camera off so that you won't rubber band, maybe we turn the camera off so we can hear you. And I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'll try first.
It was just, is it
Okay,
just me
I'll
that
turn
he's
the
rubber
camera off.
banding for? Oh, okay.
Oh, I have a very old computer.
There. Okay, I can hear you a lot better now.
Okay, Jackie's been waiting to be accepted as a GFT volunteer since August. She's completed her account and corrected and everything else. Who does she call to find out what if she's been accepted or denied or what's going on with that?
I don't work for the bank. So, first of all, why does she want to
Okay,
volunteer with them? Because,
to help
you
others
know,
get to help others complete their paperwork and get their GFT account set up.
okay, well, listen, she can be helping them outside of the GFG, just doing that on your assembly. And so, I mean, even people who are not on any assembly can help with paperwork because doing the paperwork the way that Anna wants, you know, everyone to be able to do because she doesn't want anyone to stand in the way of being able to come home. So anyone can declare, and they can actually self-publish on Bucolic Living Law and also on Global Family Group. So if they want to go ahead and publish on Bucolic so that they can upload their paperwork and get their accounts open faster, then that might be helpful, I guess. I don't know. But I think it doesn't make that much of a difference to be able to just also put it up on Global. I know that if they come through Bucolic, and they're, also coming through your local, whoever it is that wants to help them, which if they're not on an assembly, then they should definitely be working with a notary public to get the paperwork done. All right. So that it's witnessed properly. Then they can upload it on Bucolic. We're not going to approve it, and approve the account unless it's wet autographs and done properly. Um, uh, and then they can take those documents and upload it onto GFG to open their account. And so, and the bigger point that Anna and the Federation and everybody says, there is no land recording office that is going to hold their assemblies hostage. That's number one. So there's no land recording office that has to be associated with an assembly specifically. Also, assemblies shouldn't be pulling their rosters off of the land recording office and presuming upon everybody who's declared there, because everyone who is declared there isn't necessarily volunteering to serve their government and they have no obligation to do so. Period. And you cannot presume that upon them. You cannot presume upon them. They must voluntarily provide you with hard records. And if you don't have hard records as an assembly, you don't have standing, period. Period. Electronic records are not enough. And they must be voluntarily given to you. And so if they're not voluntarily doing that, you're presuming upon them. And then your roster should just be an Excel spreadsheet that you make based on the actual hard records that you have. And if you don't have that, you don't have standing, period. You do not have standing.
Perfect.
So it doesn't matter what Anna says or anybody else says. At the end, Anna hasn't had time to go through and investigate and see everybody's hard records on every state assembly. She can only go by what she can see in the land recording office. And the minute that she found out that was compromised, and she said, no, we can't do it that way either. It's the reason why with Bucolic, we've gotten such strict instruction on how we can operate with that. So
this leads me up into my real question that I want to ask you. How important is it for forgiveness? And this is regarding the GFG funding, not helping, not returning help offered, etc. And I yield to you.
is your question, I want to make sure I comprehend. You're saying that forgiveness from whom? GFG? Is that what you mean?
Oh, I'm just talking generally here. It just popped into my head as you were talking about the GFG funding, and nobody's required to help and assist. But so that would leave bad feelings, for lack of terminology, behind people. So how important is it for forgiveness in this
Oh, well,
events?
how important is you honoring the law? And this is the law between you and the universe. This has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. This is between you and the man in the mirror, right? Because universal law, God's law, is enforced not by man. It is enforced by the universe. It is enforced by Creator. So our Creator has already put a balance in place. You know what the one of the biggest false beliefs of man is that man can possibly create balance in their life? and try to compare themselves to nature as if they have the ability to balance their life the way nature creates balance, that's nonsense. I'm going to tell you something. I have a house full of other living men and women in my family, and there's nothing I can do to control their free will choice. And I can try to balance this house all damn day long if I want to. But there is no way that I am going to ever be able to control all of them and create the balance that only I want. It is going to be balanced based on the needs of all of us and equally and not always joyfully. Okay. And it might not look beautiful all the time, but nature is going to create a space for that. It is not my work to do that. Any man who's trying to create space for balance is lying to himself. So they could just go ahead and wake up and realize that it is not their work to control other people. We don't do thought crimes like, uh, you know, Thomas is putting in the chat here because we can't care about your feelings. Only you can. And so if you're not willing to forgive, then that means you are carrying hate. And if you're carrying hate, that's harming you. You don't forgive other people for them, you forgive them for you. So I don't know how important forgiveness is to you. That's between you and you. Go look in the mirror and figure it out. Everybody needs to figure that out. And if they don't, guess what? If they're just going to sit around hating people, everybody can feel all that hate that they're carrying. And they're going to repel away from those people naturally because nobody cares for that. No one has I don't know about you guys, but like I don't have the energy for all that crap. And so once you realize once you have experienced knowledge of this truth of the great fraud, you have less and less tolerance for lies. The more clearly that you're able to see what's going on, the more I guess armored you become to the lies, and uh, that lack of forgiveness. And what is somebody else doing that you feel that you have the authority to hold it over them and to the point where you have to forgive them anyway? What are you talking about? Like they either hit you and harmed you and you told them, hey, you hit me. That hurt. And then once you told them and that's it. And then maybe you just never going to go back around them again. That doesn't require any forgiveness. And you know what? When people hit me, I don't even remember who they are. I don't even think about them again. Next time I see them, I might feel their energy and go, that's that dirty energy again. And that's about all. And I will just leave it right there. I'll just be like, yeah, I don't want to talk to that guy, you know. But that's my 2 cents on it. That's how I manage it. But everybody, that I guess that's my opinion in that sense. So I yield.
Exactly what I was looking for. Thank you very much. I yield.
Thanks, Keith. All right, so you yield the floor. So Jean, you're up next.
Okay, I just have 2 questions for you, Niti. You said about setting up a vendor account. When I looked at that today, and I was going through some education stuff, but it says to have a record number, which, okay, I know where that is. But then it says that you need a prepaid prosperity account. And I don't know, is that the same as our regular GFG account?
Where do you see that? Because I didn't have that. I mean, it didn't ask me to provide something for that. I had to provide my recording number because they want to make sure the only vendors that they're setting up right now are people it's for declared people. So you have to be a sovereign.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out actually, because Anna said that we should encourage people who we do business with to, create a vendor account. And originally she was saying just everybody should get on there and all the vendors wouldn't necessarily have to have been declared. But because now they know that we're plugging into the central banking system, then I think that's changed. So if you're on GFG, then the only vendors that GFG is going to entertain or um, manage or service are going to be declared unincorporated businesses, and they're not going to entertain any of the corporatocracy or anyone who's not declared. And I should also say that the bank has to operate in multiple jurisdictions, and so they are going to be working with some businesses that are commercial because they have to um, service all the realms because we have general, superior concurrent general jurisdiction, and we can operate in all of the realms. And so a lot of people are very confused about, why can they do that? Or sometimes Anna Maria writes in all lowercase. Sometimes she writes in upper and lowercase. Sometimes she does all caps. Well, Anna Maria is operating in all the jurisdictions, addressing all the players. She is not who you're ever going to compare yourself to. So everybody could just stop doing that. You're not doing what she's doing. So we only use upper and lowercase, and we write in proper English. You'll notice that if you try to open a bucolic account and you use parse syntax or you do all lowercase or something, we're gonna just correct it. If you correct it again and you change it and you start putting trash up on our thing, we'll just throw your account out. We'll reject it. So I guess we need to put some better instruction on that. But, we're being educated all the time by Anna, and we're bringing questions to her. So, just like the bank is building their thing, we're building it in front of you. Anna has a way of putting us on the spot and putting us on the stage before we're fully ready. But she's not wrong. Look, when you start a business, you have to start practicing that business and exercising that business, and then you create all the policies. It's the same way our government is. Anyone who's trying to write all their handbooks and then stand the government, this is ass backward. You can't do that, really. Because if you are a business owner and you run a business, you can't do that until after you start running the business. Because you can write all the handbooks that you want to write, but guess what? You're going to take 3 steps, do 2 things, and find out that it doesn't fit in that handbook already, and you got to go back and edit it again. You're going to be just editing it all freaking day long. And so by the time it's all over with, you're going to drop that handbook on the floor, and you're going to go handle the business. And then in 10 years, you're going to maybe go, oh, I guess we should write some SOPs because that's actually how business works in real life with real living men and women with the living law. So this is something for all of you to think about as you build your government systems as well. Anyway, I don't know if I answered your question, Jean.
So, yeah. So,
Sorry, you pushed me off on this tangent. It just kind of came through me. I apologize.
So I read that in where it said to get to sign up for a vendor account. That's what it said. So I didn't understand that as
I think they
prepaid.
just are telling you that you already have to have your GFG Prosperity account
Okay.
set up before you can, create a vendor account. Because probably a lot of people, Jean, were trying to create a vendor account and they weren't first set up on GFG,
Okay.
but you are. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. My other question, please. So when I redid my mortgage back a couple of years ago, they sold it to a company, and this company a month or so ago sold it to themselves, but a different division.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so when I finally figured out how to get into that account. It's $300 more, right? So I don't know if it's because of taxes or, but so I haven't paid it. And now they're putting charges on there and they're calling me. But do I have to pay the extra because I contracted for the set amount, right?
Right, right. You know what I would do, Jean, is in an effort not to create a problem right now, because you don't probably need that headache, go ahead and pay what you're used to paying because they can't do anything about the fact that you're not paying the new amount, you're paying the old agreed upon amount.
Okay.
And as long as you're paying the old agreed upon amount, then there's only going to just be this other thing building up in the background. And you can just keep asking them over and over again, hey, what is this extra amount? What is this extra amount? What is this extra amount? What is this extra? I didn't agree to that. I didn't agree to that. You could show them your original thing. And then just say, this is all I agreed to pay. I don't know where you're coming up with this. What is this nonsense that you're coming up with?
Okay.
Because they don't have the right to, we go back to that rights thing, okay?
Right.
But this is contractual law. They don't get to just change your interest rate or whatever. If they bought it, they have to honor whatever that paper was, the way it was, even though it's all fraud. Let's not get into all of that, but
Yeah.
I think that by Christmas, you should hopefully be able to just anyway square all this up and settle it, and we can put them in their corner. But
Just pay it off.
yeah, but for right now, for right this red hot minute, okay, I don't know, you're gonna have to pay it off, Gene, because I am pretty sure that they're gonna do a jubilee and cancel all that debt. So I
Okay.
definitely would not pay it off, but I would just make the monthly payments until Anna and the Federation can do the systemic move that she says. I mean, I say she has said it, and now it has been exemplified if you're following all the 50 million pieces of news that I'm following, okay? But it's been exemplified. And so all these pieces are coming through. And even the de facto side, the men on the de facto side, a lot of this crap is supposed to be resolved 6 months into 2026.
Okay.
So I encourage you to just pay your minimum, whatever you think you're supposed to. Because if we're being honest and you pay them $10 a month and they accept the $10 the first time and they cash it, they've agreed to $10 a month. Okay. So now you could just pay them $10 a month and they could just kick rocks on the rest of it because you decided to make a payment plan for yourself. They accepted it because they cashed the check. And when they do, this is the reason why they got rid of paper, right? They got rid of paper for one of these reasons is because when you handwrite a check, reasons why you might want to pay your mortgage with a mailed in through the postal court handwritten check. And when you do that, say monthly payment on there towards monthly payment, okay? And when you send it and they accept it and they cash it, now they've agreed to your payment plan.
Mm.
And I mean, yes, it's going to create a bigger balance. Yes, it's going to create a bigger whatever. And yes, when they reconcile all their craziness, then because you're operating in honor and say, well, I told you I could only pay you $10 a month, and this is all I can afford right now, and I'm doing it honorably. And you took the payment, you cashed it, you didn't rebut it. You didn't rebut it. It's like an unrebutted thing. You send it, especially you send it in with a testimony in the form of an affidavit. Let's see, do they cash it or do they mail it back to you? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, you might could just sneak it in there with this new guy because they aren't paying attention.
Can I do that even because I pay it by my debit card? If I just
No,
pay
it's
them,
not the
no,
same
no.
thing as doing it on paper.
Uh,
Because on paper, when you send the check in the memo, you can say monthly payment.
Payment, yeah. Okay.
Isn't that a fun trick? It's their own crap, their own tricks, their own spells and incantations. You can just cast them upon them.
Well, I'd have to get a cashier's check from the bank because I don't have any checks.
I mean, which is fine. Do it.
Yeah,
Or, pay for one checkbook. I have one just for fun, like this,
yeah.
just
All
for
right.
this kind of fun. All right.
Thank you so much. I yield.
All right, Jean. All right, Marie France.
Yes, I don't mean to take too much time on the chat because it's been already a long chat here. I just want to tell everybody that we have a good news. We formed a second assembly in Canada on the land and soil, and we just found out our name after a 2 week polling votes of we the people last night. So the new name is the Canadian State National Assembly. And we are already 65 plus members. 50 plus members were from the Terra Canada Assembly. So we moved on with the new assembly. And so 80% of us are already all papered up, either with the 928 packages or the G-string, the basic assembly package, whatever. So I just want to say to everybody that it is official. We have a second assembly, and we're very holding that land and soil, which is ours. Thank you. And thank you, Nikki, for all the amount of energy you put into all your answers. I yield.
Thank you, Marie-France. And congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. Thomas, you're up next.
Okay, regarding the assemblies and the growth of assemblies, Niti, we have that federation perspective of 1776. I just called it the checkoff list, but it's the lift. It's the consensus of actors that we're to be aware of. That you have this checkoff list. I think you know which one I'm talking about. It says, like people come in for different reasons, and I would, as a memo, so I can remember, just because it's so precise and so, I think that should be a reminder, like every now and again, if I may, bring that forward. And then also, what's going on, as I comprehend it, with Donovan rights and this movement that hasn't been seen in 160 years because we've been, in this lie realm, but with Donovan rights, dedicated and blood oath to the truth, it resonates with Thrive On. Foster Campbell and Kimberly Carter Gamble, and they, if you're familiar with Donovan Rights and you're familiar with Thrive On, it's basically taking a look at the 13 different aspects of life and improving on them. And people have gone before us with that work. One of those aspects is the law. And I came from Thrive On to come to Anna to present Thrive On with the law. So, Niti, as you're dispersing the American funds and as they become Americans, I'm sure Foster and Kimberly and Carter Gamble, they're here on California. I would just hope that you would look for their little memo in your bucolic living law realm. So with that, I yield. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure about which list that you're specifically talking about. So maybe you will share that with me, Thomas. Um,
Okay, you shared it and a couple times, and it talks about how there are people that want to dictate, there are people that just want to be Americans, there are people that want to govern.
yes. Okay, now I know what you mean. You're talking about the categories of the landscape as we identify the landscape. So as we identify the landscape, you're saying one more time, check off list.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like,
just to identify. I see. Yes, so that we
right.
can clearly identify who it is that we're working with and how they're operating, and so that we can move forward powerfully, making sure that we are able to protect all of the people and all of the assets and honoring all of the people despite their derangement or their paid opposition or whatever it is, because everyone is currently, during this time of duality as the new earth rises, then there are a lot of pieces that, have to adjust. That there's a lot of pieces that have to adjust. One of which is, literally like healing the trauma. Reasons why what Kathleen Davis on Hernando is doing is such a big deal, because we just can't have enough Kathleens. Like, can we just get an army of Kathleens? My God, that's what we need. We don't need a bunch of med beds. We need an army of Kathleens. That's what we need. Because if she doesn't know this yet, but when she does know it, it's going to be so much more powerful, because she is a rod of electricity that when she plants her feet on the sand at the beach, that she's right there by that sand, and she puts her hands on the patient, then the healing that comes through just that alone, or being able to take I know people on our North Carolina shore here who take their patients in those water wheelchairs. Have you seen those wheelchairs you can put in the ocean? I mean, if you can get a water wheelchair with a couple of guys to help you for a minute to help get that patient in there in that water, the healing that you get, that charge that you get into those people. And they're going to be scared. They're going to be upset. They're going to kind of fight it a little bit. And I will say that is going to be more powerful than some of these med beds that they really have to have faith in and believe in. For a med bed to work on them, just for everyone here to know, you have to believe it and you have to relax into it. And you have to allow it because, again, everything is with our free will choice. So the only real violation that you can make to somebody's free will choice is throw them in the ocean, and then they just kind of have to deal with that for a minute. But it's one of those things that once they do it, I bet they would feel so much more relief that you might be able to get them to, consent to it the second time or the times thereafter. Like a lot of the babies, right? The kids, the ones that are like, I don't want to go to the pool, but then you take them to the pool and you walk them into the ocean and they go, oh my God. And then they feel it and they, oh, do it again. So you kind of have to do it in that kind of way if you can. I mean, obviously, we're not trying to traumatize all these patients. Like, I'm sure Kathleen knows the right way to do it, but um, if anyone can, get them in there, that energy that they receive, that healing that they would get from the ocean and the sand and her just putting hands on them uh, while they're there in the sun that's a big plug-in. It's a big one, especially with her clean hands and heart, right? So anyway, Thomas, that was um, just a ramble off of what you said.
No, that was beautiful. Thank you. I still didn't see the list, but it's okay. We'll get it
You
on
want me to
recording.
post it on here? Is that what you're asking me to do?
No, no. At some time, would you refer to that on your further future posts, just like randomly? It's just something I think that brings us together.
I got you. I got it. Okay, cool. I'll do my best on that. Thank you. And Joanne, your hand.
Hey, I was just thinking when you were talking about Kathleen, about how your ability to read the energy of other men and women is so important and valuable to know in the now moment what is needed and what's required, because it doesn't always line up with the words, with what someone is saying. So if you're only locked into the words and just thinking up here with what is being said, and you're not feeling what is actually going on, reading the body language, the tone, perhaps even assessing personality style and expression, you're maybe missing what's really going on. You maybe need to be asking a few questions, a why question or a what question. Now, I'm in the dental field myself, and since COVID, I've had patients come in and obviously they're coming to see me about their teeth, right? But when they're seated in the chair, sometimes they don't care about their teeth. They want to talk. They want me to touch them. They want me to put my hands on them. They want me to listen to them cry. They want me to give them a hug. They want me to love them. So that involves being able to identify in the moment, what do you need from me in the moment? What's really going on? You're maybe saying this, but I'm feeling we're going in a different direction. The reason I share that is it's also equally as applicable in our assemblies. So when things occur in the assembly, you may hear just the words that are happening. But if you're listening and hearing, there's more to feel with what's really going on there. And it perhaps does need some clarifying questions, and it could change what you need to deliver or bring to the table in that now moment. I yield.
100%. We are actually immortal telepathic beings, and we operate more on telepathy than anything else. And so these electrical interferences and screens, as helpful as they are, it is not our authentic self. And we aren't able to operate in our full authenticity and feel each other's energy. It's the reason why on North Carolina, we are working really hard to create in the flesh meetings. I've been doing it at the food church for over 2 years where we have a monthly in the flesh gathering. And people come to my gatherings from all the surrounding states and places all over America, just to come and feel the energy of the people. And so I encourage everyone to do that in your nation because I think most people on your nation can probably drive to you. It might take some time, but like most, I mean, I know Canada is huge, so I'm not saying all the Canadians can get together like that, but even your provinces are gigantic. I mean, but most of the populated areas aren't covering that giant landmass because most of your landmass is a lot of ice and, things like that. Well, it's not just the ice. There is ice on the land. I just mean it's not populated, the actual land all over it. But um, anyway, I didn't want to go off on too much of a tangent with that. All right, so we're on our last 20 minutes, you guys. I'm going to do a hard stop at 3 o'clock my time. I'm on the East Coast here. So is there anything anyone I did? Oh, by the way, Thomas on California, what he was talking about, I pasted that here in the chat. Um, I just am calling it identifying the landscape. These are just some very elementary things that, I think any living man can comprehend these words, and we have to be honest and authentic. I've been told that, you know, who do I think I am saying that as people come into the assembly, that we should have some type of education program that's, some kind of um, stepping in, right? But I think that with all of the knowledge, all the lies that we've been fed, then wouldn't it be helpful when people come in that there was a stepping space for them to come through and receive kind of an orientation and then like a basic and then a novice and then an intermediate and then an advanced, and I'll use a restaurant as an example. Anyone who's ever worked at a restaurant, when you have someone who you hire to work at your restaurant and they come in, they could come in with, I don't care, 30 years experience. It doesn't matter. If they've had so many years of experience and whatever, when they first come into your place, day one, you're not going to give them a table, okay? Because they don't even know where the pens are. They don't know where the sticky notes are. They don't know how you communicate. They don't know. You have to give them an orientation, right? You got to walk them through the place. There has to be a training, not because they're stupid. I mean, we're not saying you're so dumb, you need training here. What we're saying is, welcome. Let's have an orientation. This is how we are organized. This is what we're doing. And you should know what it means when you come in and you only want to talk about your business of, working with autistic children. I'm picking on Elzania here for a second, okay? Well, that's a special interest group, and that's not part of our government. That's not what we're doing. But as a declared living man or woman, you have an inheritance, and you can use that inheritance to go and serve that special interest. But people are very confused right now about what is the work of the government and what is the work of the special interests. And as we're constructing our assemblies, we're not open for services like that. But that doesn't mean that our court of record isn't working. That doesn't mean that our authority isn't there. It doesn't mean that there's not a few government moves that we can make. So don't be confused or twisted because this is a problem that they don't know how to use the authority. They don't know how to use some of these parts and pieces. And at the same time, they want coroner services. Well, shut up. We're not offering coroner services right now. And also, we have public servants who we have paid to be coroners, so everybody's covered with the coroner service. So shut up. Shut up. You have a coroner that you can use. Ours isn't available yet, but it's not that we've left you without coroner service. Does this make sense? If there's anyone here who objects, open your mic now or forever hold your peace. So there are these people that come in on the assembly, and if you use this chart to help discern them, they're not going to like it that you're labeling them. But also, we don't care because there's a job to be done, and we have to be able to know your skills, you know? And it's not just that we have to know your skills, you need to know how those will best serve us. Because there's already a group of people and we're all working together. It's not my assembly and it's not your assembly. It is the assembly. And so everyone needs to be able to come in and help and work on that level. But the only thing that has to be laid out first is the parameters and, you know, I guess the procedures. And that's kind of where then anytime someone tries to speak about, okay, let's do it this way, then they say, oh, you're trying to be the boss. No, hello. There has to be some leadership. And the leaders are going to be rising naturally because they just see the picture. And the picture has to include, you know, we have to include all these people. And so we are including them. That doesn't mean that we're going to let them disrupt everything because we know they're paid opposition. Anna has paid opposition that she's been working against all these 45 years. Most people are against her. She said to me, Niti, she goes, I'm being contested all the time. It's the reason why I can't go help Africa. I can't go help all these other nations because I'm being contested all the time just for America. And my work is to be the fiduciary for America first and then the living people. And so she's doing these things in triage order. And nobody can know all the things that she has to balance. She's the only one with that purview. And in the same way, there's that same situation going on every assembly. But if the assembly isn't allowing these kind of hard conversations like what we're having here, then it's not right. And so your assembly meeting isn't going to go like your corporate meeting that everyone's all, you know, uh, putting on smiles and fake and phony. That's not what it's going to look like. It's going to look messy. But if they're not allowing everyone to speak, then that means that the General Assembly is muzzled and they don't have a voice. If they don't have a voice, that means they don't know how to lead. Nobody can lead if they can't handle everyone speaking their mind. And so then everyone needs to ask their leadership, like, you know, you might need to stand to the side and allow someone else to do it because maybe there's somebody else who can allow for everyone to speak. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to leave anybody behind. But even Anna has put people on timeout, and she said, you need to put these people on a timeout with prejudice for all the disruption and the fact that they're not allowing you to get your court stood up. Because the fact of the matter is, you can't have a jury of your peers if you don't build a court. And that's the other problem. A lot of people want to join the assemblies because they want the protection from the court. They want the jury to be, you know, who they deal with in the event that they have a problem. And yet they won't get out of their own way to let us get the court up. So, you know, people don't like the words on this. And also, we don't care because you have to be honest. Because the sky is blue and the grass is green. We don't care what you think it is. And yeah, the sky does sometimes look purple and pink and rainbow and whatever. That doesn't mean that overall we don't comprehend the fact that the sky is blue and the grass is green. Everyone knows that. Anyway, all right. I'm not trying to be like preaching at everybody or anything, but you know, we are one. You are me and I am you. Does anybody have anything else that they want to bring up in the last 8 minutes?
I want to follow up on that, Niti.
Sure, go ahead. I yield.
The it's all the 6 inches between your ears and what you've learned in your lifetimes. Okay, and this is different. So now you're calling to all these new synapses and all this stuff working in your mind, that all these little percolating little things that you're not used to exercising are starting to work. And it's as simple as taking two brain cells together, rub them together, and produce a thought that most resonates with you. And most likely that'll be with clothing that is not plastic, and you're most likely not going to be isolated by rubber. You're naturally grounded to the ground. And that's where all the clothing comes from, because it's natural anyway. But if you get yourself grounded, get yourself some sunlight, get yourself out of this busyness, give yourself some time to think and really like ponder, and whatever your happiness is, bring it forward with that thought, and just be in that space and ponder, and you're going to get your answer back. And it's going to be most likely, I mean, my experience is, look, I'm in a realm that was not meant to be. It's not what creator intended on this creation, rock that we call earth. It's not his creation. It's not what it was intended. We were supposed to be fruitful and multiply and enjoy life, but we're bound by this foreign ideal. And this is what Niti is wanting to point out. And the more clarity and the more BS we get out of the way, the more she could get to the point and be efficient at the work that is before her. So with that, I hope that brings some clarity, because Niti, honestly, I'm on the side of this and I'm thinking, man, she's just, but hey, you're a mama bear soccer mom. I get it. And everything is on the line here. And the audacity of these people to keep portraying their fraud on us in the full exposure is just like insulting. So I get it, and I don't want you to be misunderstood. And I don't want to be misunderstood. We love everybody. It's all in peace. But yeah, I mean, guys, we're so close. We almost lost it all. So just let's take a deep breath and learn to trust what is good. And you do that from a different perspective, because what you've been fed the last 160 years has been the lie. And with that, I yield. Peace. And we're not doing that no more. Now, peace.
No, it's true. It's true. We're not going back, and we're not going to tolerate it. And, like I've said a million times, I'm never going to shut up, and they can't stand it. And I have gone, and my husband took me to see Anna, and we talked to her, and we gave her our word. My word is bond. So it's all about God and country. This isn't about family. Anybody who puts family over their God and country, well, sorry, that's not what we're doing here. Also, you are not obligated to serve on your assembly. So there's that. Anyone else? We got 6, 7 minutes for, no, I can't tell time. 8 minutes. Go ahead, Gwen. I yield.
Hey, Gwen on Canada. So I think one of the most difficult things that we as organizers are facing is there's groups of people, and each of them is wanting to be heard. And maybe one group says we're not being heard, but there's two sides to a coin, and the other group then says they're not being heard. The people come together, they decide. It's the coordinators that stand there and go, okay, this is what they decided, but it might not necessarily be that the coordinator isn't trying to smooth both sides over. And you're right, we do have to work together, because exactly the plan of evil is to divide us so that we don't get forward. And yeah, everybody has disagreements, but realistically, like, it's just something that we're doing. It's not who we are. We're still us, and we still love one another. And, like you see, these two opposing police officers, they might be having a chat, and one's arguing this and the other's arguing that, and then okay, they're at work in the office and they go, okay, quitting time, let's go for a beer, or whatever they do. They leave their office and they're still recognizing the value of everybody and everybody's contribution. And I think that's where the devil's been playing. He's been trying to get in there and mix everybody up, and everybody gets upset, and it's not even fair, like, because everybody has a heart, they're loving, they're trying to get ahead, they're trying to make things work. It's not that people are coming on and trying to be divisive. They're not. And so it's just a way of, I think the hardest part plowing through the snow is to try to figure out where's the road and then, just get on it and go. Anyhow, I just thought I would encourage everybody because we're all doing this. We're all having a tough time. There's things going on. We're trying to figure things out. And, yeah, we're not here accusing anybody. Anyhow, I yield.
Thank you, Gwen. I will just say this. Um, it's not that they're trying to divide people. What's happening, Gwen, is when you pull people out of the water where they were being attacked constantly and threatened and fighting for their life in the water, their whole life, right? Then when you fish them out and you put them on the land and soil, all of a sudden they have this clarity of the truth, right? And now they're on the land out of the depths of the ocean and they can see in all directions all this stuff. And initially, if you've ever saved someone from drowning, then they're deranged when they come out of the water because they're just traumatized, right? And so it requires time for them to break out of that derangement. But during that time of derangement, they are having nightmares, like all these things are happening, and they are dangerous. They could kill you, and they are attacking people. And they're not doing it because necessarily they're evil, but they're just doing it because they're just like still deranged from, fighting for so long in the water. So let's just all keep that in mind and make sure we give everybody, time to heal. A lot of us who are still working in the monopoly system have a very difficult time um, operating outside of that and fully coming out of the water because they still got one leg in the water until the bank's open. So let's just kind of keep that in mind too. And with that, Elzania, you're next.
Well, Xinyan, Ontario, I just want to thank Niti for giving this platform for us to speak and express our opinions on how we view things. And you're correct. There's many people that I know that are deranged. That when I share the knowledge, or even I believe actually it's a remembrance. It's a remembrance happening with me because I will take a book and I'm still old school. I read books and I will read a couple of pages and I know already what's in the book. And it's actually something to do with law. So I'm kind of strong on that area. So when I meet people and I try to tell them something, they're just deranged. It's like they're coming out of the water and they don't know what to say. And they're so scared. It's the scary part too, is like their gut is saying, yes, I agree with what she's saying, but I'm really scared because I'm so indoctrinated. So that's kind of like the realm we're in where I live. I can't speak for everyone else, but that advice you gave last time about how make sure you get everyone around you reconveyed was an amazing. Like I want to do that anyways, and I'm doing it already. I've got my tea parties lined up and stuff, but at the same time, I never thought about it. Oh my gosh, what a target my family's going to be if I don't get everyone else, you know? So I never looked at it. So that's the great thing about speaking and not being banned and shut your mouth because you hear other people's perspectives. And coming from a mediational therapy background, I know what it's like to listen to both sides of the coin. So I love listening to both sides because there is always truth on both. There always is. So to that, I yield, and I thank you kindly for allowing the Canadians to come forward. I yield.
Absolutely. I mean, I love all the people. I want to hear from everybody, all the things. We're all having like very, similar struggles. And hey, if what is happening on the assembly is too much for someone, because there's a lot of people that say, hey, whatever's happening on the assembly is just a lot for me. Like I can't like listen to all that stuff. So why don't you do everyone a favor and go bring people home and just focus on that. And you don't have to come into all the assembly meetings and stuff. You just bring people home, get them their GFG account, bring people home, get them their GFG account, and then let them, I mean, introduce them to the assembly, let them know that, hey, it's going to be like this, you a lot, because a lot of people just think, oh, well, they don't even know what they're doing. They're so disorganized because it kind of looks really chaotic. Then you have to remind them, like, we're not the corporation. We are the living people. And living people are kind of messy. Like they might not know how to get their kitchen table cleaned up all the way, or, they got little piles of projects that they got going on all over their house. Or you got some other people that are super anal and they don't have anything on any surfaces in their house. So there's a lot of different people with a lot of different little quirky, things that they bring. And this is a space in which all of our weirdnesses come together. And most of us, like I've been working with all these farmers and Joel Salatin has told me, you might have heard of him. He said, Niti, he goes, you bring all these weirdnesses out in the way that you run the business. And I said, I do, because I was running it the most unincorporated way possible, making everyone responsible for themselves, and I was not complying. And I told the USDA and the NCDA and the FDA and the CDC, they came and tried to shut me down, and I told them, no, thank you, goodbye. We're not listening to you. I don't do their inspections. I don't fall under their anything. I don't allow them to control my jurisdiction. I am like the biggest threat to them because I've been running the business without any of their oversight for all these years. And so he said, well, most people can't run a business that way because, we aren't going to deal with all those weirdnesses. Okay, well then why are you having a rogue food conference now? Like he started a rogue food conference and he wanted me to come talk. Well, if you don't want to be regulated, you have to be able to express knowledge of the truth, which makes you a weirdo like me. And creating all these weirdnesses by making everybody responsible, because I don't work with consumers and the customer's not always right. And I tell them how wrong they are. And I don't care if they don't like it. So, but then guess what? They know that when they get the food from me, I can stop their children from seizing on the minute. They know I can reverse their MS. They know we can reverse their autism. They know that we're reversing all of these diseases. And so they have to shut up. And then they realize that. But I don't want them beholden to me. And they don't want to be beholden to me either. And that's the reason why we have to do this, because everyone should be able to just get real food and not have to have poison and interference in their life. So that's all I've been working towards, is making it so that everybody can have that on their own terms, right? All right, Carol, it's 2 minutes after the hour. You're the last one, and then we're going to close the meeting.
Thank you, and I won't take long. I just wanted to corroborate about reaching out and like the outreach, because I just feel like I need to brag here just a little tiny bit. There's 5 of us from Saskatchewan on Canada and all my friends that are just loving what we're doing here. And as we have the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project looking into becoming a sovereign nation, I suspect we're going to be populating even more from Saskatchewan. It's just going to grow amazingly. And so it's just such a feel-good feeling to be able to introduce people. And also, Niti, I just want to thank you for all the help you've given us over the last few months. It's been great. And then the last little question is, do I just reach out to you on Bucolic Living is there forms? What do I need to get our Canada on your bucolic recording system?
So the reason that we haven't included Canada is because we need your postal. Okay, so this is something I kept feeling like we had to set it up based on whatever everybody, because like Terra Australis is like redoing all of their landmass basically. I'm just using that as an example. But what I'm learning and realizing is that we should use the current postal zones or whatever. So I just need to know if that's what you guys, or if that's how you guys are gonna do it. And if that is what you're doing, then we'll just keep it consistent with you because when you create an account, you have to be able to put your address and all that stuff. And it was my comprehension, and I could be misunderstanding. Um, what Australia wants, but it was, I want to honor everyone's land the way that you guys want it to be named, I guess is what I should say. And so if you're just going to go by the current postal system, then we just need to know the provinces and so if you want to just even send us a link from your postal service that we can give to our developers, and then we'll just tell them to set it up that way, then we can get it set up, and then you guys we can launch Canada.
Great. I can make sure to do that in the coming week, just
Do you
after
have my
Christmas.
email?
Making cabbage rolls.
Yeah. Do you have my email?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, just do that, and then I can make sure to get it to the developers because we just want to
Right.
honor all the nations the way that they are setting it up. That's all.
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like a
Oh, you're
million
welcome.
thanks. And happy new. You're not meeting next week, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I'll just see how I feel. Like I'll send a notice out next Friday and see how I'm feeling because frankly, all of us are still working. If GFG breaks out, I'm gonna be doing an emergency broadcast and sharing it. And then I'm gonna tell you what, we have a few places that we want to go to get with some family, like immediately and try to, like manage our immediate family first and then get back to work, but most of the time I think I can jump on a call for a little bit, even if it's just 30 minutes to an hour or something. But let's just see. I'll keep everyone posted. If nothing else on my Telegram channel, I'll make sure to, like say, hey, I'm taking a break,
Well, party and potluck at my house. I'll give
Oh,
you a she keeps telling me next meeting's at Carol's house because I always have my camera and 3 or 4 people with me
oh,
here.
I mean, right. That would be fun too, I mean, I think it's going to be, look, the more that we can gather and then get on these calls even and connect in those ways, that's even better than not, right? And then everybody can break off in there. Like maybe that's a good way for Canada to get together as well as they can, is that everybody gets in their little, provinces as much as possible and then get on the Zoom call together and say, look what we're doing. And then, break out with their party.
Yeah. Well, I figured next week, I think we're just going to do a potluck here anyway.
Good, good.
Just community built.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you so much. A happy new year and a joyous Christmas season to you and to everybody here.
Yes, thank you so much. And back to you as well. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Well, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for making your time to be here and for all the contributions. There's nothing but great love here for all of you. And let's just make it happen and get these courts up. And let's just show Anna that her work is coming to fruition, and she's guarding herself to make sure that she gets it done. And we stand with her, right? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Niti.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.